What up? What up? Everybody watching on YouTube. My name is Brother Legend. I go live every day. Bigbrolgnd. You can catch me on TikTok. You see my profile. Click the notification bell in the top right corner to know when I'm going live. What's going on? I post all my replays up here on YouTube. You can find me there. The YouTube link is on my profile. Today we're talking about some things as usual. I welcome y'all to come on in. I'm the Pan-African propagandist up here. Yes, sir. I'm definitely up here. Want to talk to y'all about a few things. We live. Dr. Robert, peace. Oh man, I forgot to call you. I got you though. I'm gonna text you after we get out of here. I'm not gonna be up here too long. Dang, I forgot to call. I wanted to call you right after work, and I made a video instead. I forgot. I got you. Call you after this. Thanks for joining, brother. I don't believe I forgot. I'm usually more on point than that, but I should have set a reminder. Because I only get a few hours after work, and then I try to go live so that I'm not up too late because I got work in the morning early. But I got you. Come on in, y'all. You feel me? Human, definitely human. I'll be on color people time. Hey, yeah, I definitely need to start a podcast. The podcast is on the way, coming soon. Hopefully my sides will grow out by then. If y'all want to know, the reason I wrap my head up every day is because I usually have my sides shaved off. Like I had a Kendrick Lamar fade that turned into some locks. You feel me? I just never cut them, and I'm tired of shaving my sides. So I'm growing out my hair. So right now I got like 4-inch little cheese doodles on the side of my head, and I got long hair right here. So I'm waiting for it to grow out enough. It is long enough, but I'm being greedy. I want it to grow out a little bit longer, like 6 inches, so I could just cut my hair and reattach them to my sides. So y'all gonna see me with my head wrapped up for a while. But yeah, so today we talking about some things. Put yes no in the comments down below. We're gonna grade y'all. As always, we talking about some things. Um, can the thin Lipians be pro-black? Does feminism benefit the community? And does the LGBT movement as a whole benefit the community? Let's talk about it. Does it hurt us? Does it help us? I'm open to all answers. I'm going to judge your yes or no's down there. I'm going to give out grades. Like someone already said, no, yes, no. All right, that's interesting. I'm gonna be judging your answers, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see, because everything is kind of up in the air. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these answers, it might be a good reason you say yes, or it might be a good reason you said no. So it kind of does matter the reason. It's not just all the way black and white. So the wording on the questions is somewhat vague intentionally, so that it requires you to elaborate. So you know what I'm saying? That's something we could talk about. Keep your isms and phobias to yourself. We don't do that here. But we can talk about some things. We're not afraid to talk, but keep it respectful. Don't come up here with your isms and phobias. We are Pan-Africans and proud. I'm a Pan-African propagandist. If you're a brother or sister that doesn't celebrate Turkey Day, but might have passed by grandma's house and got some sweet potato pie. If y'all had sweet potato pie, tap like. If you've had sweet potato pie in the past week, tap like. If you've had any sweet potato pie, tap like. If you just happen to stumble upon some sweet potato pie last Thursday, somewhere while black folks was eating turkey. Someone said they fasted that day. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. That's not a holiday meant for us. But if you eat sweet potato pie, tap like. And y'all know what I mean. If you know what I mean, tap like. If you had green bean casserole last Thursday, do not tap like. I don't want you informing your algorithm and your friends to come up in this space. But you are welcome to answer the questions. But if you have a washcloth in your bathroom right now, tap like, tap like. I better not see no one melanated down there talking about they had some green bean casserole. I'm going to look at you crazy. You get looked at crazy. If your macaroni and cheese is cut with a knife and not served with a spoon, you know what I'm saying? You need you need a knife, then y'all can definitely tap like. I appreciate you. Tap like, tap like. You know what I'm saying? All right. So yeah, we can talk about a few things. We're over 2K likes. Feel free to come on up.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
Yeah, I'm 24, white male, he, him.
Okay. And go ahead, talk to us. What brings you up?
So I'm just kind of curious on what your definition of pro-black is.
Why are you curious about that? I'm curious to know what your answers to the question are.
Because it depends on how our mindsets are. If we don't think, because what my idea of pro-black is versus what your idea of pro-black is could be totally two different things. So I'm just curious as to what your ideology is about being pro-black.
It's
What
not mine,
considers
but I can tell
somebody?
you what the pro-black scholars define it as: prioritizing one's actions and values with what's in the best interest of building within the black community. So it's prioritizing one's actions and values, what they do and believe. Prioritizing means your focus. Your actions and values with what's in the best interest of building the black community.
So why can't white people be pro-black?
I don't know. You tell me.
I mean, I just randomly joined the live. I've got nothing against you, or you know what I'm saying?
Oh, so you have
why?
nothing to say. You just came up here to ask me questions?
Well, I have nothing against you. You know what I'm saying? So
I
why
didn't
are
think you did.
you exactly? So that's what I'm saying is how am
Why
I
are you
not
asking me
pro?
questions and not answering them?
But how am I? But you're deflecting. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
Like,
not deflecting. You're deflecting. The questions are right above you. Talk about it.
and you're
Tell me
saying
how
white
you
people.
feel.
And you're saying white people can't be pro-black, and I'm just curious as
Where
why
did I
can't
say
white
that
people
at?
be? At the very first question is, can white people be pro-black?
Answer it.
Yeah, I think personally, absolutely, that white people can be pro-black. And I just asked you what pro-black is, and you said that it's
And I answered
putting.
you. I never said who could and couldn't. I just answered your question.
And I'm not saying what the scholars say. I'm asking you personally, what do you believe is being pro-black?
I don't have to make it subjective. I just gave you the objective answer. That's the answer that all scholars will agree. So that's the answer of pro-blackness. It's prioritizing one's actions and values with what's in the best interest of building the black community.
Okay, I understand that you're giving me an objective statement, but
So did you come up here to not
it's a
say anything and
conversation.
really just kind of like push back on what pro-blackness could be? Or I
No,
don't
it's a
know. We're like,
conversation. It's a conversation to be had between two people, and two people have subjective ideas behind it. So you can't give me an objective answer to a subject that you have an opinion
what's your
on. What is
definition
your
of
opinion?
people?
What is my definition of people? Living humans. I mean, you, me, the people watching the live.
Okay. I was just curious. I just wanted to know.
Why?
I just wanted to
Why?
know.
What, I mean, what did that have? That what question? I mean, what was that? What does that have the relevancy?
Well, it all depends. Do you like green bean casserole?
No, I hate green bean casserole.
Hmm.
My girlfriend's family just made it for Thanksgiving, and I didn't have no fucking bite of that shit.
Interesting.
Ryan, why couldn't you just answer the question? Why do you guys come up here and then make it into your platform and start asking questions? Why is it so hard for you just to answer the question? Also, you're probably talking about anti-racist and not pro-black, Ryan.
No, so the can white people be pro-black? It's a question, right? It's a question, and it's between two people. It's between me and it's between the creator. These two people, me and him, have subjective ideas about the opinion up top. So all I did was simply join and ask him what his opinion was on it so that I can understand where to debate from.
Okay.
You should have started with answering the questions first. That shows respect, okay? And then you could have jumped into your little world, and maybe Mr. Brother Legend would have answered your question. But this is his stage, so you come here and you answer his question, and then from there the discussion starts. That's how that works, bud.
Can white people be pro-black? Yeah, that's it. That's what I believe is white people can be pro-black.
All right. So name one that has been.
Name a white person that has been
Yes,
pro-black.
elaborate beyond yeah. Like tell me why you think that, what evidence you have of that. Like elaborate, sir.
On elaborate on so
Your
like
answer.
what's the definition? What's the definite like just white people liking pro-black or white like I don't understand. Like
So
that's what
you're
I'm trying
just
to
saying
understand is
yeah because you believe white people can do anything and you don't know the definition of the words in the question. You just think white people be? And the answer to anything after that is yes.
no, that's exactly
So
why I
all right,
came
so
on
then
here
if
and
you
asked you
all
a
right, so you
question.
asked me what the definition is, you acting like you don't have your own definition. So I'm just kind of confused why you're saying yes. I'm asking you to qualify that. You're not able to do that. I feel like I'm teaching a dog how to bark. I don't know what's going on right now.
No, that's why I came on the live is that to have the conversation is can white people be pro-black? I just said yes. Then but before all of that I asked you what was your definition of pro-black to understand where we have in the debate. You gave me an objective answer to that question and I want to know I don't care about the objective answer. I care about your personal subjective answer that we can have a personal human debate. I'm not trying to debate what scholars think. I'm trying to debate what you personally think.
Well, when it comes to the definition of things, I like to keep things objective because when you make things subjective, it gives you wiggle room to try to get into anti-intellectualism. I know that's a big word. That just means like what you're trying to do right now is take us away from like facts and studies and research and put us to just a opinionated point of view so that you can somehow be able to turn the conversation in your favor. I don't want to do that. I really host this space as more of a scholarly space for people that like read books on this type of stuff. Um, so if you're not on that level yet, I would encourage you to just maybe eat your bean casserole and maybe snuggle up next to the powdered donut of your choice, and we can teach you something, maybe learn you some.
Yeah, I didn't come on here to debate facts. I came on here to just have like a genuine like just a discussion between you and me and see if we could come to an agreement on some things. But it seems like you just want to debate scholar facts and stuff, and I mean that's cool or whatever. But yeah, I'll go.
Statistics or facts that back up anything you say besides your emotional feelings. What you feel, what you feel don't make nothing facts.
Yeah. So, all
What
right,
what do you
I'm gonna
yeah.
give it that you're conceding. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
All
not
right.
gonna. I didn't want to talk about facts. I just wanted to talk about personal opinions between a subjective opinion.
But that's the thing with y'all. Why are y'all think y'all feelings verify everything? That's a YT person's real thing. Like your feelings mean everything. But when I say anything, I need statistical facts to back up what I'm saying for you to understand and comprehend it. So
That might
why
be other people, but not me personally. I
you're
mean,
very
I
much
think
sitting
everybody's
here and you
feeling
just want to tell me how the moon and the stars feels to you. What does that have to do with my livelihood?
with the moons. I haven't brought up moons or stars at all. I don't know what you're talking
It
about.
was a metaphor, love. That's okay.
And I just want to give you a suggestion, Ryan. You don't want to have a scholarly conversation, and that's fine. We accept that. We know that that's a real big challenge for some people, but maybe you should look into getting some deconstruction therapy and maybe start from there, because you're wanting to talk about feelings, and therapists usually talk about feelings.
Well, no, the reason why I came on here is why people or can white people be pro-black is yes, because I personally feel like I've got nothing against the black community. I've got black friends. I hang out with black people all the time.
Oh
I'm not
boy, come on! You don't
definitely
need to
not
tell us you're in an
racist. Like,
interracial relationship every time you eat a Snickers. We get it.
what was that? I didn't hear you. I was
You
finishing
don't need
talking.
to tell us you're in an interracial relationship every time you eat a chocolate donut. We understand. You got black friends. Woohoo.
Yeah, I know. So that's what the whole point is why can white people be pro-black? And that's what I'm saying is as a white person myself, I don't care about race. Like it doesn't, like
All right,
like I said, I got
so
nothing
you're not
against you.
pro-black. Cool, we get it. But you know someone that is. I assume.
That I know someone is what?
Yes. Do you know if you're a racist or not?
No, I'm not racist.
Tokenizing is something that racists do, and you just tokenize multiple times, bud.
I don't even know what tokenizing is.
So, and here we go.
This conversation ain't for
You
you.
really need to put some work into educating yourself on simple terms like tokenism, racism, deflection, recentering, all those you covered here, but you have no idea what they are.
I feel like, I'm a white person and y'all are clearly not white. And I feel like y'all are like
How do you know that?
trying
I
to
didn't tell you what I
provoke.
identify as.
I feel like y'all are trying to provoke a white person to come up here and like say that they're racist or some crazy shit. And
And
I'm
see, we
not
feel
racist.
you're
Like,
coming up here and trying to provoke us. And by the way, Ryan, my mother was half white, so how about that, bud?
Bro, we
what
don't
does
have
that have
to.
to do
We
with
don't.
what does that have to do with anything I just said?
The same thing your black friend, your black neighbor, your black dog has to do with this conversation. Do you see where we're going with this there, Ryan?
No, not really.
Okay, so that would be a sign you need to go to the library, get you some anti-racist books, get you some definitions under that belt, and then maybe in a month or so you can come back and try to have a conversation. But you don't even know the basic definitions of certain terms. You don't even know what pro-black is. You don't even know what the difference between pro-black and anti-racist is. Here's a clue, Ryan. You cannot be pro-black. You can be anti-racist, and if you don't know what anti-racist is, then you may be a racist.
Sounds about right. I got a feeling anything after B in the first question is going to get an answer yes from a lot of the yeehaws. Everybody, don't forget to keep tapping tap like. We're trying to get to 10K likes. Appreciate y'all. Let's keep it going. We got some people up here. We're going to keep talking about the discussion up above. I just want to remind everyone this is not actually a debate. We're kind of up here just to talk, get some opinions. Might lead to a debate, but we're not here just to be arguing back and forth. Ryan, are you finished or are you done?
So it was the lady. I was trying to understand what she said, so I muted myself so that I could hear clearly. So are you trying to say that I'm racist? Because I'm not
Yes,
understanding.
1,000%.
So you're
And I
trying to
think,
say that I'm racist.
did I stutter?
So I know what the definition of racism is. The definition of racism
I
is
don't think you do. I doubt you do. I
purely.
highly doubt you do. Even if you read the dictionary definition, I think you would read it wrong.
So all right, then instead of reading what the dictionary says, you tell me what racism is then.
I don't have to teach you anything. I would encourage you to do that yourself. If anybody wants to learn how to be a better anti-racist, I would recommend the work of Tim Wise, Jane Elliott, or Dr. Neely Fuller's Compensatory Counter-Racist Code. It's a book that you can learn all about anti-racism and things of that nature.
How am I being racist? That doesn't make any sense. I haven't even really said anything yet.
You said quite a lot. I think I'm done. I don't know. Anybody else got something to say?
About that is last part. So
to,
society teaches you that, right? So what you experience in life, what you see on the media, it's all influential. So even in this space, you felt the need to come up here and have a conversation about your feelings, and it was far more important than the actual conversation and what it pertained to, especially when you see something that says it's about or for Black people. You wanted to be attached to it. That's your level of not only entitlement, but it shows that in society you've been told that everything in this world is yours simply because you're a white man. So you're very much racist, and we're taught to be anti-Black. There you go.
I'm racist and anti-Black.
We're taught Black.
So I hate.
You're taught that way.
people.
You would have to unlearn.
So
you would have to unlearn all of that.
So I hate the Black community is what you're telling me.
Oh, Lord.
No one said we're not putting emotion to it. There's very, very fine racists. There's good racist people. So
How
it
many-
doesn't. We're not saying you're a bad person. I know hate is a strong word. Let's not take it there to an emotion. There are good people that are racist. Just because you're a racist does not make you a bad person, but it does make you a racist.
Do you hear me? How many Black friends you got?
I've got about 3.
He got 3 in a chocolate donut. Listen, y'all, I'm done.
He can count them.
He can count.
Why does that matter?
Oh shit!
I don't know. It does.
It should matter
Bye-bye.
to you.
All right, let's go to the next guest because he's just going to keep it going. What's going on, Rashad?
What's up, man? That was a bit funny. People don't realize their biases and stuff up here when they get up here, man. So he's acting so lost, but why did he even get up here? It's so weird.
Yeah.
Pro-Black. Of course not, man. We live in a system where Black people don't even want to be pro-Black. So how are you, a person belonging to the dominant controlling society, before the people that's being oppressed? That makes no sense. Against the other races, but you can't be for us. You can't be for us, period. I don't care what you say.
You got a lot of noise in the background, brother.
Black people. Other
I
people
don't know what you doing. Sound like you got us in a bag of Twizzlers.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. So yeah, can white people be pro-Black? No. Does feminism benefit the Black community? Not at all. I think that a lot of sisters are confused as to how and where feminism originated, and Planned Parenthood. Not saying that those institutions don't have meaning now, but when they were started, very sketchy. And as for feminism as a whole, if I can make a blanket statement, feminism has done more damage than positive to any Black femininity that you can recall. I mean, they're literally barred from marching with them and gotta get your hand, I'm dead. Barred from marching with them and protesting and stuff. Not only recently have you seen Black women involved in femininity, and that's because, feminism, and that's because, LGBTQ and a lot of that stuff. But yeah, feminism definitely hurts Black women because the allyship and the camaraderie is a facade. It's just so you can pull support globally or however where you're trying to pull support from, and black women happen to be a group of people who will fight for just about everybody that they can support to a fault,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
to a fault. Does the
Mm.
LGBT movement benefit the black community? I don't think it does. Um, LGBTQ members of the black community that I know talk down on that community, and they don't support them as a whole. Now, of course, individual people who are disparaged and disenfranchised need support. But
Mm.
if you're talking about that whole movement, what it is, they're just different arms of white supremacy. They're just taking away the conversation that black women need to have about certain things like uh, mortality rates and everything like that. It's just
Mm.
not that supporting. Listen clearly, not that supporting LGBTQ people is bad for the black community, but it's what that organization takes away from especially black women. And like we say, to be pro-black, you have to be for the black community. And if something you're involved in is negatively affecting black people, then it's not pro-black, or does it, and it doesn't benefit the black community.
I would
So
like to
yeah,
know more about your connection between Black women's struggle and LGBT movement. Notice that I'm saying movement. Specifically, I'm talking about political movement. The um, organizing movement, like not the
well,
identity.
I'm not too versed on it as a whole. I
Mm.
just know I just kind of noticed how the LGBTQ, as far as politically, take away from what black women or other feminine movements try to get started and try to get stuff done. It just takes away clearly, in my opinion. But I'm pretty sure somebody is more versed in it than me to take the conversation upwards. But yeah, I just
Mm.
think as far as those two movements politically definitely leave out black women, regardless of their sexuality. So,
Mm.
that's just where I am.
All right. Well, I mean, can you so you can't qualify that in any way? Like
Could
I'm
I
saying, in what sense do they take? What do they take away from women? Like where are you coming to this conclusion?
put on my thinking cap? As far as let's see, I've got something trying to word it correctly. Let me get back to you.
Okay.
I'll go
Yeah. We'll
I'll
come
let
back to you.
CBL go or Diva, and I'll try to brush up on it real quick.
All
I
right.
ca-
What you say, D?
I asked him what he called my name for. Look, it's certain things
Go, bro.
I like tiptoe around because it's an understanding. I just believe in respect for people and how they choose to live is their business. But I think it's very dangerous to correlate certain things, particularly when it pertains to black women, when YT men are literally leading the pack of other quote unquote movements.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll leave that where it's at.
Mm. Okay.
I
Well,
just waiting my turn patiently. I'm not ignoring anyone, I swear.
okay.
I
I
wanted
don't
to
know who
say
said
something.
that.
I wanted to say
Okay.
something about that LGBT movement. I live in Portland, and if anybody knows anything about Portland, Oregon, this is kind of a mecca of um, quote unquote white inclusivity. And what I've seen one on one from people, particularly white men in that community, is once they got certain um, rights and benefits like health insurance and stuff and marriage and stuff, they now, and I listen to them, I've worked with them, they are now very bold enough to talk down on black women, black men, the black community. They now vote
Mm.
for Trump. So once they got what they needed with our support, with black women's support mostly, they were like, thank you, bye. Trump
Yeah.
2024. That's what I've seen. I don't
Yeah.
have any documentations or anything like that, but that's what I've seen. So
Those are better
no,
words
none of
than
that.
love.
I went with a few sisters to Pride in LA before. And I was shocked how we were sitting down eating, and a Marshmallow Man came up to one of the sisters I was with and called her the B word, except he was saying it like, she was fly or something. And I was like, dang, y'all let a white man call you that? Like, I can't call you that, but y'all gonna let him call you that? That was crazy. But hey, you know what? That's kind of wild. Yeah, like I just felt like, something in my epigenetics was flaring up.
I've been like, no, not bitch, but bad. Thank you. Like, okay, no.
But yeah, that was wild. I didn't see how that should have been acceptable. But neither did they. Thankfully, I'm around the right kind of sisters. But if did anyone else have something to add before I go to the next guest? Rashad, Crazy, or D?
I'm good. Let me know when I can do the announcement.
Oh, okay. Actually, it's about that time. It's about that time,
Yeah,
sisters. Yeah.
basically, she said what I was really like trying to touch on.
Who
Crazy
did?
Librarian, she's
Oh
way
yeah,
better than
she
me
gonna
at it.
hit it. Crazy Librarian gonna hit it every time. Hello. In a minute, I'm gonna need a man or woman. Ready? All right, y'all. Hello. Hello and welcome in. You are in Brother Legends Live. Again, you guys, you are in Brother Legends Live. Now buckle up because this flight is going to be a little bit rough. At the end of the day, we need you to play. Tap that screen. Tap it up. Matter of fact, power tap that screen. Leisha said 3K is the points that we need to get here. So tap
30.
it out. I did say 3, didn't I? Excuse my French. You guys, 30K is what we need to hit. Can you share the live? Share with your friends, your frenemies. Include your gosh darn enemies. Make sure you subscribe. Subscribe to Brother Legends Live. And make sure you follow him on his YouTube channel, Brother Legends Live. Okay, you guys, tap the screen and make sure you send the mother freaking pause because we're going to have to eat somebody up in a minute.
Send the pause to kick a guess. It's a democracy. We allow y'all to have some control over what's going on up here. If at any point you feel triggered, feel free to send a pause. Once we get 5 from y'all, we'll go to the next guest. Appreciate you. All right. I think the next guest was the real. Could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
37, black, and he, him.
All right. Talk to us.
No problem. So I wanted to start at the bottom topic first. Does LGBT movement benefit the Black community? I think in the long run, it does not, for a few reasons. I think the LGBTQIA movement and the African American civil rights movement, right? These are two different movements. And so when you're merging the LGBTQ struggle with the African American struggle, I believe what happens in the end is that you dilute sort of the original idea of what the whole civil rights movement was about initially. Also, I wanted to add into the fact that, when it comes to certain inalienable rights, you have to remember, African Americans obviously were brought here via the transatlantic slave trade. They were in chattel slavery. They built up an institution to make it what it is today, pretty much for free. And they didn't have a lot of those rights, whereas LGBTQ is different. You can't necessarily tell who's LGBTQ or not simply by looking at them. Obviously, you know a person of color by saying, okay, this person's melanated, he's a black person, we know, so we can differentiate. And so they can deny you certain things. You have the Jim Crow South, you have the slave patrols and all those other things. These things the LGBTQ didn't necessarily go through. And then on top of it, you're throwing in, because anybody could be LGBTQ of any race or background. And so again, when you throw that movement in with the African American movement, I think it dilutes a lot of what the original idea of what those things are. And then also, furthermore, people may disagree with me on this next point, but I think in the end, the nuclear family framework is going to be beneficial in the long run. I don't think that a same-sex movement will, in the long term, benefit the African American community. That's my opinion. I know people are not going to agree with it, but that's my view on that. Does benefit the Black community? I think in the long term, it will not, because remember, the feminist movement or women's liberation was started around 1846 by Elizabeth Cady Stanton. So these are white American females, and this was started in 1846. So at the time, slavery was still an issue, and African Americans, in particular African American women, were still considered as property. So their movement, again, is not sort of the same as the feminist movement that was initially started by white American females. So it's a little bit different in that regard, because
I
and
would
then
say the feminist movement was
yeah.
started by Black women.
Hmm?
I mean, not the feminist movement, I guess you mean.
Yeah.
But women's rights was first amplified because of Black women, and then by the time you get to the feminist movement, it was appropriated. So I see what you're saying.
Okay, that's fair enough. So, and then, like I said, for me personally, I'm all for, if you're talking about equal opportunity, equal pay, voting rights, right to own property, right to live life, liberties, pursue of happiness, and have opportunity. As a woman, then cool. I'm not against that. But I think, for me, my point of contention is when you're talking about extreme, because I believe there's feminism, and then I believe there's extreme feminism. And I think there's this idea that's promulgated by society that somehow men are obsolete, that women have to be strong and independent and don't necessarily need a man for anything, that they can do bad all by themselves. I think the extreme part of feminism can be harmful, because in the end, men and women, we both need each other. If we want to build a community, I think men, we need men, and women, we need them too as well. And we can't really
Who's
build a
we?
community without the two, men
You
and
mean the
women.
Black community?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, so like I said, like healthy feminism, I'm not against that. I'm just against the I guess you could say the extreme part of it, that sort of puts this gender division between the two, sexes. That's something that I think it's harmful in the long run.
To the
Can
Black community.
combat community? Yes.
All right. There
Yes.
I can definitely concur. When we get into the other community, I'm not so sure.
I got you. So as far as can white people be pro-Black? I think so. I know people will disagree, but let me see if I can make the argument if I could. So you had a person who was an abolitionist, or this is a white American by the name of John Brown, who rigorously was anti-abolitionist, and he fought tirelessly against white supremacy and the system of slavery, and he died for it. Now people may make the argument, well, are there any John Browns now? Maybe you could say no, maybe not. I know people believe that there's this idea that white people are inherently racist, so therefore, why would they dismantle a system that benefits them? Which I hear what people are saying. I have a difference of opinion on it. I believe that not all white people are racist. I believe there's good and bad in every single group. I believe there are bad people who are trying to.
Whoa! Hold on. You just
Go
said
ahead.
two different things. You said
Sure. Sure.
You're talking
Go
about
ahead.
racism, and then you're talking about good and bad. Do you believe there are good racist people, or do you
No.
believe all racist people are bad?
Racism. No, racism is bad. But let me lay my point.
Okay, so you're saying all racists are bad people?
Yes.
I disagree.
I don't think racists are good people, but my argument is that I don't believe that all white people are racist. That's
I believe all white people are racist, but I don't believe all racists are bad people.
Explain. Could you tell me about that?
Racism is like a fish breathing water. We're all born in a fish bowl. We don't know we're wet. It's everywhere. It's the default in society. That being the case, I can't fault someone morally for believing what they didn't choose to learn. So I wouldn't say that all racists are bad people. I would say that there are good racists that when you meet them, they know to say hi and treat you as polite as they can. But when it comes down to it, when it's time for them to fight for you, they won't. When it's time for them to call out someone, that's acting disparagingly towards you, they won't. But does that make them a coward? Yeah, it can make them a few other things. But good and bad are part of a Christian dichotomy of how you judge people. So I would say I prefer a racist that's aware of themselves and doesn't feel ashamed than racists that are ashamed of their racism and acting like it isn't there. I'd rather them be loud and proud about it, understand that they are racist, preferably, if we even get this far, know how to combat that within themselves, unpack it. I mean, we rarely get that much critical thinking, but at least I'd prefer not to have cognitive dissonance and shame put on them for being racist.
So you think, so just to be clear, you think just racism is just a normal part of the human condition? Would that be
No,
fair to say
I
that?
think
The blackness.
racism is a default in an anti-black society where racism, white supremacy is the dominant power structure here in Earth, on Earth right
No,
now.
no. I thought Dee was going to say something. I didn't want to interrupt.
You anti-black. You should know.
Huh?
You're anti-black. You should know what them is inherent.
I respectfully disagree with that statement.
Why you tell him that, D? Come on now.
You gotta hear this clown on other people's
Listen,
panels. The white
she's
people.
cool. She's
All
I
right,
know.
shut up.
Listen,
entitled to her opinion.
I've heard the
That's
stories.
fine.
Yeah, this clown got up talking about black women
Right.
to a white woman, man. Boy, you lucky I don't cuss you out. I respect Brother Live too much.
I got you. You're free to have your opinion. It's all good. I'm not mad at you.
You ain't gonna change nobody's mind up here.
No, not
No.
All right. So
Yeah, I'll say
you
this.
were saying something else. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, I think that, look, I think that racism for the most part is a learned behavior. I think there are certain things that people kind of get into the situation going into racism about. Like I said, I can understand why people have certain ideologies and prejudices. Like I said, I definitely understand that, but I don't think people are just born being racist. I think there are things within society that sort of teaches them that. I think
Right, but see, that's what
people
I'm
learn
saying,
that.
because you're saying there are things within society that teaches them that. So that means that if you're born in society, you will be taught that. Unless you're talking about people born in the wilderness raised by wolves, we're talking about 99.9% of people born in a society that is inherently anti-black. They will learn at some point black means taboo, evil, blemished, dark, means, something is evil and wrong and taboo, like, suspicious. That's what dark and black mean in
Sure.
the society. And then you're going to look at all these black people who are over policed going to jail and say, wow, the word dark means evil. And these people are called dark and black people, and they're always going to jail. Wow, there's something really wrong with you. And then it just so society will teach you this. If you're born in a society, you're going to be racist. It's okay. But I don't think that makes them bad. And that's where me and you disagree.
Okay, so here's the thing. Also, I think people need to consider race is a social construct. I know you would agree with that.
Yeah, I would say it's a power construct, but okay.
Yeah, because in the beginning part, of America's founding, America did have a caste system, just like many other places, and I think ultimately, yes, I think I'll get to that in a minute, but I think that, that's why, for me personally, I try not to subscribe to the whole racial paradigm, because I know that it was designed purposely to create a power system to keep people divided, and it works very effectively. I think the federal government and a lot of other institutions maintain power by keeping people divided and focused on race all the time. And honestly, I believe in building bridges, and I believe that
So
if
you
we
believe the
all
government wants to keep us divided?
correct,
He's from
I
Nigeria.
believe that.
His family is. He's first gen.
I was born in Dallas, Texas.
There
Oh,
you
because I'm
go.
like, they didn't want to keep us divided when they was bringing us in here by the boatload, but now they want to keep us divided. They don't want to go. They don't want us to go nowhere. They don't want to like help build up Africa so that we could, like give reparations to Africa so we could like go. They don't want to empower our neighborhoods and our communities,
hmm
but they're trying to keep us divided somehow.
Yeah,
But
because
my
that's
thing
how they
is,
keep. Yeah, because that's how the elite keep their power. I think you have to understand that in order for them to keep their power, people realize, or they realize at least, that there's more of us than there
do
are
you
of
think
them.
capitalism is more influential in the dominant power structure than racism?
Mm. I think racism is a factor, but I think the whole idea of capitalism, the banking system, I think is even bigger factor. I think
I think
racism is just one of many factors.
banking and capitalism is a tool of white supremacy and not the other way around.
You think so?
Yeah, because they can make money, they can't make melanin.
Well, then I'll even say this. I think, like I said, for them, they don't want, and I believe this strongly. You may disagree, but I don't think, like, for them, African Americans and white Americans getting together to really dismantle this system, this matrix, whatever you want to call it, this prison planet, it's not good for business. So for them, it's about putting us in a position where we're just at each other's throats and we're focusing on race all the
But see,
time.
that's the thing. That's something that a poor white person would say because they feel like they don't. I think Dave Chappelle actually said this. The difference between poor white people and poor black people is that poor white people feel like this shouldn't be happening to them.
Mhm.
They feel like they're supposed to be higher up because they feel like they're the default. They feel like society has granted them some sort of gift of power that they're not supposed to be suffering like the rest of us. And the funny thing is, when they do get money, all we have to do is look at the top 1% wealthy white people. They're still racist. It doesn't
Mhm.
go anywhere. The poor people, the poor white people, are also racist. So it's like at the end of the day, there's a social psychology within Europeans that uses these systems of capitalism and sexism and homophobia and other things to enact its dominance. But at the end of the day, if all the money was gone and everything in life was free, it would still be racist.
See, I don't know if I agree with that fully. I'll say in the end, white people, the average everyday white person, like I said, I won't disagree with you in the fact that you have a lot of the people who are the top 1% who control a huge part of the wealth. They are white. Make no mistake about that. But this is the 1%. The 99% of the white people don't have $500 in their bank account statistically. And most of them suffer. And they really don't benefit either, just like
But they're
African Americans
still
don't.
10 times richer than the average black family.
The average, you said the average
Yeah,
white family.
their wealth is still they're still 10 times their net worth is 10 times greater than the average black family. So this is what I'm saying. And they're still racist. So my thing is, if what you're saying is true and the top percenters just wanted to keep us all divided, then why are the poor white people racist?
Well, I'll say this. I see where we disagree at is that you say all. I don't. I say some are, yes. I don't think all of them are. I think that's where we kind of differ a little bit in the position. I do believe that, yeah, you do have some white people who are racist who believe that, okay, well, I might be poor or whatever, but I still believe that I'm better than the next person over
So you
here.
think the
But
root cause of racism is for the top wealthiest people to keep power? That's all. That's the only reason it exists.
I think
And
I
it's
think
been propagandized to the less fortunate for them to believe it so that the top elites could keep power.
I think that's a part of it. I think what keeps this whole racial tension there is the fact that these people, these top 1%ers, they control a huge part of the mainstream media, and they use that tool to be able to influence the masses. So that we're stuck on this issue. That's why I don't trust the mainstream media at all, because they misrepresent a lot of the issues that not only do poor white people go through, but also poor people of color, black people in marginalized communities go through too. We're all suffering as a result of what a lot of these people are doing. And so I think if we could just bridge that gap and try to find common ground, then we could work
Common
together to be
ground
able
with
to,
people that
yeah,
don't see you as a human, or
not them, not
oh,
them.
okay.
I'm talking about the people that do. The people that say, okay,
Oh,
that you can work with, and you can be like, okay, you see me as a human being. You're not a racist
where do
person.
those people live?
Where do they live? I think
Yeah,
they're
where
there.
are they?
Good question. I think they're there.
John
You
Brown
just,
isn't one of them.
how is he not one of them?
John Brown had skin in the game. I'll put it nicely.
Okay. So do you think it's impossible? So let me just get your view on it. So do you think it's impossible?
I'm saying even if it is possible, it's not enough. There's 200 million of them in this country. Not even 50,000 of them have got together, formed an institution to combat racism that is also institutional. We haven't seen even 100,000 of them, which would be what, 0.5%, not 0.5%, like half of 1%. Like we haven't seen 200 million, bro. That means 1% would be 2 million, bro. We have not seen 2 million of them come together and form not one major movement was led by white people. We've seen black people lead a movement and them come and march next to us. We've seen that. But we haven't seen out of 200 million, we haven't seen even 1% say, hey, enough is enough. John Brown style. We haven't seen
So
it.
then I got you. So let me ask you this. Do you think that there are any white people that were instrumental in the abolition of slavery and the civil rights movements in the 1960s?
I could say that there were white people that were instrumental in fixing their own problems for their own community. Does that mean that they did something for black people? No, but I feel like they did have the capacity for empathy and used it to the betterment of their own community. Racism is a white problem that affects black people, not a black problem.
So then, okay, so let me move gears then. So what do you think? So do you think that, because I guess you made your position clear, you don't think that there are any white people that are capable of being able to work with you to be able to, I
I'm
guess.
not an anti-racist. I'm pro-black. Anti-racism and pro-blackness work hand in hand at certain junctures, but my priority is my people. That doesn't mean I'm anti anybody else. That just means my priority is with building with my people. So, racism, that's their problem. It's I hope they get it together soon. I'm teaching us how to be able to see it in our own lives, counter it within ourselves, because we've also internalized anti-black thoughts and ideas about ourselves. So I teach that and how we can combat it in our own community, but then I refocus us back to building with ourselves.
He ain't coming, and he ain't invited. That's definitely one we leaving with the watch.
But look, hey,
He's
Osa,
focusing
Osa,
on his. Hold on, sir. The man that
my
said he's
bad.
focusing on his YT community, about damn time, because y'all focus on ours so much, y'all done destroyed our generational wealth over and over across the country. So it's about time y'all focus on y'all community, and why y'all keep pewing up everything, and why y'all keep raising these demon children to mess with ours. But just like Osa, little rugrats will be here that probably look like real sandy head and weird. We understand that y'all hate us, and I know Osa, you hate yourself, so it's good.
No, that's not true. I'm aware of who I am. I'm made in the image of the
Osa,
Most High.
hey, no, you don't.
And I don't hate anybody.
Osa, I have a
All right.
great example. You
Can the next
said,
guest, Creed, I think it's Creed talking. We can barely make out what you're saying.
It's
Can
signal
you
bad.
just But can you just write that question down? Because I do have someone that was coming in before you. I don't want to make them wait too long. Please write it down. Don't lose your thought. And thank you, the real, for that conversation. I think it was productive.
No
I
problem.
know I know D, I know, but it was still productive. He kept it respectful. I think it was good for the people to hear. And if he, comes up and he's respectful, I cannot blame the brother or whatever you want to call him. All right, y'all. Mama Bear, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns?
Sure. My age is 33. My race is Native and Scandinavian, which is Danish, aka white, for those who don't know. And my
So
pronouns
white.
are she, her.
All
No,
right.
I'm Native. I'm Native. I do not claim the white side. I do not like white people.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That was actually a pretty authentic response. How do you feel about that, D?
I believe her.
I believe it. I believe that was pretty authentic. All right. So tell us what you think about the questions.
The first one, can white people be pro-black? I believe they can. Do I believe they are? No. They have the potential, just like anybody, but no, I don't believe that they are, and I don't believe they will change. Personally.
Okay.
Does feminism benefit the Black community? From what I've seen, unfortunately, no. Again, I'm not Black myself, so I do not pretend to understand the difficulties or the struggles that you guys go through on the daily. I am unfortunately white passing, so I have more privilege than my cousins and my other family members, but I do not believe that the feminism is good for the Black community. I believe that it talks them down and brings them down when it's supposed to bring them up, and it doesn't. It focuses more on the YT community more than people of color.
Okay.
And
All right.
does the LGBT movement benefit the Black community? Originally, the LGBT community was started by 2 trans Black women. But nowadays, no, I would say no. I would 100% say no.
Okay. Hey, man, what do you give it, D?
I'm gonna give you a C because I don't understand how YT people have the potential to be pro-black at all.
Yeah, see.
Oh, I missed
That's
that part. I missed that part.
You missed
I
that
said
part.
potential, but
Oh,
I never
no.
thought that they will ever be.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Everybody has the potential to be better. Will they do better?
What's
Pro-black
okay,
though.
so
They could be
hypothetically-
anti-racist, but to be pro-black
hypothetically
is
speaking-
to be intentional about your community, and that would be that you'd have to be Black.
All right. I'll give you a C plus. So that's pretty good. Shout out to Mama Bear. C plus. That's not a bad score. That means that you're anti-racist.
No, I
clear.
don't say that I'm
It's got 10
racist,
on
to
the
be
native,
honest,
though.
but I'm racist more to white people. I believe that they got
No.
There it is. I think she's a pretending.
No. Yeah, don't say that. Don't say that.
No, I'm in Canada, and the way they treat my people is sickening.
So then that's not racism. You can't live here on land that they stole from your people and say that you being you just displaying some intelligence. That's when you do it, it's retaliation. It's not racism.
Oh, thank you then. No, then I'm not racist. Thank you. I did not I'm sorry. I'm just the way they treat us down here is not okay.
But Mama Bear, listen, if you're native and you standing in your native, you're not racist, right? But if you standing in your YT, that's xenophobia. It still ain't racism.
Well, unfortunately, half of it is, and I don't like it.
Okay, Mama Bear. Appreciate
you. I just wanted to say that I think your live is great, and more people need to listen to you because you're awesome. And I'm just going to leave with that, and I hope you guys have an amazing day.
You too, Mama Bear. Thank you.
No problem. Bye.
Right. Everybody keep tapping like. We're trying to get to 50K likes. Don't forget to send these Panther paws when people get on your nerves. Y'all must be feeling real tolerant today, but that's okay. We about to say something, D?
Thank gave that head poon so much space. I was so annoyed.
Listen, I know, and I was giving him pushback, but you know, we gotta. I don't know. I got more patience. I got a lot of patience. I've been on this. I've been doing these lives for so long. I'm callous. Like, you don't understand. I expect nothing but cocoonery. Like, I just expect it. I mean, you know, he was at least polite. If he came up here like some of the other folks, then I could have got heated. But I don't know. I'm numb to it by now. Renee. Oh no, it's not Renee. I'm sorry. Not you. Not you, Renee. It's not your turn yet. Creed, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
30s, black, and I'm a man.
All right, talk to us.
So this last guest, before I address what Osa said, this last guest that came up, these self-proclaimed allies are the worst for the black community. One thing I didn't hear y'all mention about was the term white passing. That originally is related to us as the black community. Now we see people use that term, and for some reason we automatically think that they're related to white passing, as in the black community. So many of the things was just throwing me off. You said I'm white passing, native, you're native and you're white passing. Like, many of the things that she was saying was throwing me off. Because it sounds like some things these self-proclaimed allies tend to say.
We don't have any.
That come on. That's why I'm saying self-proclaimed allies. But yeah, you're right. Now I have proof. As Osa was up here saying, oh, with the civil rights movements and stuff. See, he don't know anything about the so-called civil rights movement. The civil rights people say everybody else except for black people. To be honest. But one of the persons that we can relate to, his name goes by Bernie Sanders, aka Daddy Sanders. He, when he was running for president, he would always mention Martin Luther King, Dr. King. And when it came down to it, when he was asked about reparations, the first thing, instead of just saying no, just being up in front, he was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Money. Well, I think there's better ways to solve it than just writing a check. Money guy Daddy Sanders believes that money can solve housing, money can solve poverty, money can solve, infrastructure. But when it comes to black people, specifically the descendants of chattel slavery, the descendants of the plantations, money can't solve that. So these are your self-proclaimed allies, and these are the worst people for the black community. So there ain't no reason for somebody to ask that or even think that they can relate that to the civil rights movement. Like, to somebody to ask that means they don't know. Because why are you even asking that? Don't waste my time with it, So that's just what I know, and I got proof. I got evidence. I got a lot of evidence, so but yeah, that's it. I just want to mention that,
Cringe when you called the YT man daddy. I'm sorry, I was over here cringing.
That was really bad.
It ain't not come on now. I ain't talking. He ain't my
So
daddy.
you called him. You kept saying it. You just had me
He's
cringing.
daddy to a lot of people though.
Daddy and Bernie just don't go together.
And what?
Daddy plus Bernie do not go together.
I don't think he was saying it. I don't think he was speaking for himself. I think he
Yeah,
was
he was
speaking to
speaking
how.
like
Oh, like in general, like he's like
Yeah.
the okay. All right. Thank you. I
Yeah.
Oh
apologize.
no,
I
no,
I got
no.
that
apologize.
part.
You
It
know
still
what?
made
I
me
gotta be
cringe.
clear. That's just how I talk. In that sense, I'm not speaking for myself. I was talking about some people's mindsets
It's
because see,
perceived.
Bernie Sanders you know, he had got a lot of black people to support him, and that's what he used. That's what he
Mm-hmm.
used. But if you know Martin Luther King, he lost support when it came to when he wanted uh
Mm-hmm.
tangible things. So
Reparation. He wanted items.
yes. So
Yeah.
hell, if Daddy Sanders was the man that's gonna solve everything, you know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
we ain't got allies. It's just us.
Mm. Okay. I agree with that. Bernie Sanders' grandparents, I believe, or his parents, um, received reparations by the U.S. government. I'm sorry, by France through the U.S. government. They paid in U.S. dollars for what they survived in World War II. And it was hypocritical of him to say what he said, especially on the Breakfast Club. He said it on the Breakfast Club, like a black news media outlet. That was what I think really killed his run for president. And then, meanwhile, Joe Biden was in the church trying to get the black vote, and they always go to the church because that's the number one indoctrination center. That's the power center. That's where you want to grab people by the minds and the hearts. Our people go to where white Jesus reside, and you'll grab them up. So they know that. That's why they go there. But I can't disagree with you, brother.
Hell, Joe Biden, he rode on the coattail of Obama.
Right. Yeah. And Obama wasn't no good for us either. So that's another thing we could talk about.
That's
But
interesting about Bernie because the house I believe that he lives in today was actually his parents' house that they bought with the money that they got from the United States. So it's kind of weird how he would not want reparations. However, he's living in the house that was bought with reparations.
that's crazy.
Trying to
Now,
tell you,
it,
there are
it,
no
hey,
allies, man. There are no allies.
it's
Democrat,
not
Republican, it don't matter.
it's not
Yeah.
crazy because they've been doing the same thing over and over. So it's
Can
nothing
we get a
crazy, not surprising. You know, it's just expected.
Can I get a pause? So, you guys, why are we at 45K? Tap that screen, power tap that screen. All right, let me go ahead and do this because we had a demon in here and I need to clean the air. Holy Spirit, activate, activate, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. All right, you guys. Hello and welcome to Brother Legends Live. You guys, you are in Brother Legends Live. You know what? Let's take this flight. It's a special trip today. You guys tap that screen. We need 50K. Let's go. Tap that screen. Matter of fact, power tap that screen. Share the live. Invite your friends, your frenemies. We'll even take your damn enemies. And you know what? Make sure you subscribe. Subscribe to Brother Legends Live. Make sure you subscribe here on TikTok and also on Brother's YouTube page. Learn, listen, and pay attention. When we get these poons up here, I need you to send those paws. But I'm tapping out. You need to tap in and tap that screen to 50K.
Appreciate you, D. Thank you. And y'all, I've also included a link on b1initiative.org. That's my organization that I'm building with Pan Africans around the world. I've included a link to help some of the brothers and sisters in the Congo. If you want to make a donation, please tap the link in my bio, b1initiative.org, and it'll take you to a website where you'll see where it says support Africans. Click that and feel free to donate to the brothers and sisters in the Congo. Also, I don't mind y'all when the comments come back with hashtag free Congo. Let's get to 50K likes so we can bring the comments back. Thank you very much. Thanks, Brother Creed, for giving us that word. I'm gonna go to Renee now. Renee, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
20, black, she, her.
Okay, thank you. Talk to us.
Okay, so to the first one, can white people be pro-black? To me, being pro-black is being a black person who, at the maximum, exclusively dates other black people, exclusively supports black businesses, or things like that, or at the minimum, prioritizes dating black or prioritizes black-owned businesses and the like. So it's either complete exclusive support or prioritization. Where if they had to choose between, let's say, an Indian-owned business versus a black-owned business, they would choose to support the black-owned business, but they would still support other businesses. So it's a maximum. Like I won't repeat that again, but like you get the gist.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does feminism benefit the black community? I feel like this question is if we see white women as like the default of feminism, like if we say feminism under feminism, white, like of course, does feminism benefit the black community? Yes, it does, but it's specifically feminism that is led by black people, because white feminism tends to lack intersectionality. But feminism, so yes, the answer is yes. So I feel like it's important to specifically say white feminism does not benefit the black community. Because
would you say womanism?
Yes, womanism, more, that's better, or intersectional feminism. Maybe yeah.
I would say
in
womanism,
regards,
feminism. You know, I feel like there's a distinction to be made there.
Does the LGBT movement benefit the black community? I think someone said originally the community was created by black people, and then white people kind of co-opted it. I feel like when this question is asked, especially by heterosexual, I'm not saying you are, but like in my experience from heterosexual black people, it's coming from the place of the LGBT, or thinking about only LGBT as white people, and kind of ignoring that black people are also gay, like such as myself. So does the LGBT movement benefit the black community?
None of these questions am I focusing on white people. That's the second time you use that. I don't think about them all day, every day. But when I'm talking about what benefits the black community, I'm talking about within our group.
Okay, so in that situation, does it benefit the black community? I would say yes. A lot of the heterosexual black people I know would say no, and I feel like it's because it doesn't specifically benefit the whole community. It specifically benefits queer black people, and a lot of time we find that when something doesn't benefit, like I feel like the reason some straight black people don't consider it as beneficial to the black community is because it doesn't directly benefit them. But anything that benefits the black community of other marginalized groups within that community also is a benefit to everybody, because we are all black under that community. So we should want everybody to get their their acceptance and their social rights and their legal rights.
Does it benefit the most privileged intersection, or I guess the second most privileged intersection? I'm thinking between gender and race, but if you want to add identity to it, then does it benefit white men as well?
Does the LGBT movement benefit white men?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does.
So how can something benefit both the oppressor and the oppressed?
Okay, so once again, that's kind of the concept of if you're thinking about the LGBT community as as in a white dominated LGBTQ space, like as it currently is, then no. But I'm talking about more specifically within the community. It's still whether
Because
it
here's my
benefits
thing.
me.
What you said it'll benefit only the LGBT intersection within the black community. And when I hear that, I'm hearing, there's not going to be a separate, oh, the black LGBT people are free and the rest of us aren't, because there was something that solely benefited them and not the rest of us. So I don't
Okay,
think I
so
don't think that's realistic to say.
what
There's
I
not
mean
going to
is
be a
like
separate freedom. We were all enslaved together. Together we
what I
shall be
mean is
free.
like what I mean that it's like a direct so kind of what I mean is that, like, for example, let's say so I'm from a majority black country, so where being gay is currently part of like the being is like illegal, and you can't be gay. It is not it doesn't affect straight black people whether that changes or not.
Why
So
not?
an LGBT so
Why wouldn't it?
uh,
I think you are leaving out how homophobia does work against even heteronormative, or whatever the word is, um black people. I think it doesn't work to our benefit. I would point you in the direction of Audre Lorde's poem, There Is No Hierarchy of Oppression, where she talks about how homophobia does work to the detriment of even those that are heterosexual in our community. Like
um
it does, because homophobia is the reason why me as a black man showing emotion gets me looked at weird. It tells me I have to fit into a small box to be a man. Homophobia, it, it works in many different ways. That's just one small example I can think of on the spot. But patriarchy is detrimental to us all. So I understand what you're
it's
saying, and I, I
okay
can
so I
I
thought
can I can agree with the goal of the LGBT movement within the black community is important, but LGBT movement outside of the black community is not benefiting the black community, because if you say you're for the rights of LGBT people, then you can just look at the statistics and the data and see that 1 in 4 trans black women attempt self-deletion and suffer from the most self-deletion rates, drug abuse, being I'm trying to think of TikTok friendly words, S worked, forced S work, and kidnappings and things of that nature. um you can look at how they're treated and marginalized even within the LGBT community, and say, well, if your focus is to get a better quality of life for your people, why aren't you starting where people are treated the least humane? Why aren't you starting where your help is the most needed? Why do you marginalize them and focus on those that are seen as the default in society? So I would say that movement doesn't help our community, but the people in that intersection, fighting against patriarchy and its effects on even our sisters and our brothers, do benefit the community. I'll leave it there.
I I feel like this whole thing of the patriarchy, homophobia, racism is detrimental to everybody. But at the end of the day, there's the target, and then there's the what's the word? What am I looking for? There's the target of the system and of those systems, and then there's the collateral damage. Just because in someone oppressing someone else, there is a side effect on you doesn't change the fact that you weren't the target. It was just collateral damage. I don't think. Okay, let me kind of put it this
You
way.
don't think patriarchy makes straight men the target? We're talking about black people.
Okay.
We're talking about black people. We're talking about black
talk
men.
about-
You think black men are not targeted by patriarchy?
No, I didn't say that. But
Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. Because you're saying collateral damage, and I'm saying even those that are not seen as, I guess, what you say the first target. I feel like everyone in the black community is targeted by all of these systems of oppression. There's numerous ways I could bring up right now how patriarchy is damaging black men, especially when they perpetuate it.
Okay, but what? Okay, but in
It is though, because maybe this
the
is
issue,
And that's where
let me
the bell
explain.
hooks.
The
Who said
issue,
patriarchy has no gender?
the issue with this is that the when it comes to the intersection of race and gender, the patriarchy is always and always will affect black women the most. The target, black men are affected. The target is
not
black
true.
women.
That's not true.
to think about what the
Patriarchy has no gender by bell hooks and Audre Lorde. There is no hierarchy of oppression. I think what you just said creates a false caste system of priorities for patriarchy. It's harmful to both men and women in the black community. We don't have a patriarchy. If we had patriarchy, there would be 25 or 20 something white presidents and 20 something black presidents, and they'd all be men. We don't have
I'm gonna ask a
patriarchy.
question.
We have
I'm
white
gonna ask a
patriarchy,
question.
and that's when
Can I
it
ask you a
becomes
question?
dangerous to black men.
Can I ask you a question? Are you trying to say that black men don't have privilege within the black community over black women? Is that what you're, and that they can't perpetuate black misogynal black patriarchy
I'm
against black
saying
women
that
within the black community?
patriarchy does not benefit black men, and it's not privilege. I can say that they have concessions when they fill the shoes of the man when he's not around. But as soon as the man comes back around, he has to hop out of them shoes.
Okay, because if black men can be misogynistic or especially, let's take some black majority countries where black people are the majority.
There's still a system of patriarchy outside of that country that runs those countries.
That's not the point. But the point is that
Yes,
it is black men perpetuating it against black women, though. It's coming from white people. It's coming from white people
perpetuating a patriarchy that they do not still have power over in a society that has internalized colonization and European standards of family structure is not the same thing. It still comes from outside the black community.
But then black women in other countries also be doing the same thing back.
What do you mean?
Like, it's just if I mean, yes,
there's a lot of scholars that talk about this. I already pointed you to two directions. I've read
Audre Lorde already.
Have you read bell hooks? Patriarchy has no gender. This is what she says. So now you're trying to tell me patriarchy has a gender, and I'm trying to tell you black women also perpetuate patriarchy. The same way black men do. But you're not saying that black women benefit from patriarchy. Black men are also affected and subjugated to patriarchy.
Black men
and you cannot forget that. It's in Bell Hook's book. It's in her book about how black women ignore how black men are affected by patriarchy when we talk about it. She says that even the sisters need to give a little grace to the brothers when they speak on patriarchy. I'm just saying, a black man is sitting here telling you, I agree that it's detrimental to both black men and black women, but it is harmful to say that black men can benefit from patriarchy, because if that's the case, black men are going to keep picking it up thinking it can help them, and it won't. It won't. We need to let it go. It's not gonna. We don't benefit. It hurts us too, brothers, and that's just the truth.
Yeah, the patriarchy has always been damaging to black people, and for black men to even want to participate or think they're participating is extremely dangerous. But I think to go back to just the LGBTQIA, I think it's interesting that in that dynamic, my family members that are part of the community will very much say that YT people that are part of that community are extremely racist. And I think the power dynamic is very interesting when they do certain things. And I keep asking, and I'm not trying to be funny, no shade, private conversations. I'm trying to understand what is the benefit when it comes to being black and being a part of the community, because you are going to be
Okay,
a part of that
okay,
community.
I think that's important. Yes,
Uh-huh.
I'll explain that. So my experience, yes, I've experienced a lot of racism from white queer people, but the thing is, like, but I would also say that I've also experienced a lot of homophobia from black people. So what I would answer to that is the benefit for me is in black community is having specifically most of my black friends are queer, are gay, bisexual like me. And the reason for that is because neither those white gay spaces or black heterosexual spaces are fully safe for me for very similar reasons. So
Not for the same
LGBT.
reason. Not for the same reason.
So well,
You're
if
right. They're
I'm
both not entirely safe. I agree with that. That's just facts. But it's not for the same
yeah, but I'm
reason.
not saying they're for the same reason. But I didn't say there was. I'm not saying they're not for the same reason. So what I'm just trying to say is that queer black people need a community of other queer black people, because even when we're kicked out of those white LGBT spaces because of racism, the homophobia in the black community does prevent us from fully coming into our community to get to kind of be a safe haven for support. So the black queer community within the community is important for other black queer people to have, because I can't be fully safe. I can't be fully safe in a white gay space, and I can't be fully safe in a black straight space.
Right. And at the same time, as a
Both
black
have
man,
issues, and both have detriments. Let's say for
she running.
example, sorry.
You got
Let's
a
say
lot of
for
noise,
example.
sister. We can't hear you.
Sorry. Let's say for example.
Something y'all need to address. How are you not safe in black heterosexual spaces?
Is that a trick question, or is?
No, it's not, because I'm trying to understand. Looking at your picture, how would I know that you were a bisexual person? I just see you as a black woman.
I hate the argument, but I don't
No,
want
it's
to
not an
get into that because
argument.
it's gonna
I'm
get me
not.
upset.
I'm genuinely inquiring. I don't want you to get flustered or frustrated. It's not about making you mad. It's an understanding that that's like me going into a space and saying, me being a black person, I was biracial and I was YT passing, and I go in and say, "Gosh darn it, they knew I was black." It's this identity thing where I would not know what you were based off your sexual orientation unless you told me. You just look like a black person to me. And for me and my family that is black and that is a part of the community, we have no problem talking to each other about it. No one would know my cousin is married to a black man. No one would know that, and these are two black men. No one would know that, because the way that they show up, and if they don't speak about it, I wouldn't know. I just see two black men, or I see a black man.
My thing is, anti-blackness and patriarchy are perpetuated and internalized by black people due to the multi-generational trauma that was handed down from slavery. Dr. Joy DeGroy talks about this in her book. As a black man, I don't know if I'm safer around white T folks who are more likely to ignore me and leave me the hell alone, or in a room full of black men where I'm more likely to be unalived by a black man than anybody else. So anyone can do that whole, it's a dangerous place for me to be around other black people. I'm the number one, the people that do the most domestic V, boxing at home, against black women is LGBT black women. Believe it or not, the statistic is the highest in that
No.
intersection.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So you see what I'm saying?
People
So
love
if at the
that
end
to
of the
miss.
day,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
at the end of the
Um,
day,
no,
at
no,
the
no,
end of
no.
the day,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can I quickly
I
respond
know
to
you
D?
keep saying you're sorry, but you interrupted me. I wasn't finished.
Can I respond to
So
D, please?
Hey, just
um,
calm down. We're not trying to
yeah,
frustrate
like
you.
you gotta relax. Just let
Calm
me finish. Let
down.
me land my plane. You can go to D. She unmuted to just give us the Joker laugh. All right. So anyway, um, anyone can play the whole. It's a danger for me to be around my own people. Not saying that it isn't. Like I said earlier, the number one people to unalive me is another black man. There was a time where black men were more likely to die of being deleted by another black man than cancer. That was in the 90s. I think that statistic is going down, but we could all play that game. At the end of the day, we have to understand where these systems come from. They come from outside of our community. They are not a tradition that started in our culture. They come from our European colonizers.
Okay. Can I respond to D DeVito's
Hmm.
question, and then I'll respond to that because it's when I say unsafety, I meant more like, yes, you're right. They can't. My friends and family can't tell that other people can't tell just by looking at me that I'm queer, even though that's not the case for all queer people. A lot of us did experience like being like kind of like people like treated differently because some of my gay male black male friends were a bit more feminine, and like there were people like, oh, he's got some like sugar in his tea. So like that's not always true for all queer people, but it's more like I don't know if I do decide to be open whether I'm going to be safe so that's more what I mean. Like for example, if I go out in the world and I experience racism, I come by at the hands of white people. I come home to a house full of black people that can support me, help get me through it, and talk with me through it because we're all black in that household. But if something happens to me in regards to my sexual orientation, I can't necessarily come back and have that be a safe space for me because everybody in that room is straight. So they're black, but they're also straight. And so a lot of times I experienced invalidation of my experiences. They're not seeing why my experience was a problem, and just generally being unsafe in that space. Once it's like I can't guarantee that once straight heterosexual black people know that I'm queer, that I am safe. And my experience is that when they do know, I am not in fact safe. So
Okay.
that's
So this is the thing.
and as for
Take a deep breath real quick though. Just calm down real quick. So this is my thing. It sounds like you don't have like you said it, someone that you can actually have a genuine like this is how I feel, because I have when I say I have all kinds of friends and family, we across the board. Like before transgender was a thing, that person was already in my family. And I was like 8 or 9 years old. And Wayne was wearing dresses around us. So it's not an issue to the people that accept you for who you are, is what I was getting at. Because if they love you, accept you for who you are, the conversation isn't a problem because they're giving space to how you feel. Now, if someone doesn't care how you feel or care about you, then you're going to get somebody to give you pushback because they're invalidating your experience. If they love and care about you, no one's going to invalidate that experience for you. But all I'm saying is if we black, we black. I don't give a damn about how you choose to, do anything different on your sexual orientation because I'm not going in that bedroom with you. I'm saying that as a people, we got to figure out a way to move forward past us attaching ourselves to others that are just adding weight really to our community because they're not doing anything that uplifts you aside from you pushing their narrative to help them build their communities up or help them build a quote unquote movement forward and then drop you at the drop of a dime or leave you dead ass behind.
I'm gonna say D that when you know how like when sometimes white people will say to us, I don't care that you're black. That does like that. So when I don't care that you're black, so hearing black people say, "Well, I don't care that you're gay," does have the same effect. Like the same, like it's like that's a part of me. You can't just like ignore
How
it.
you choose to love in private or who you choose to love doesn't affect me. It does not change anything in who you are or who you are around me as a
Doesn't
person.
make you who you are.
Right. It doesn't shape the experience or the relationship that me and you might have. So for me, if you're black, I just love you. Period. You're a black person, I care about you genuinely. But
But also, like I said,
uh-huh.
I was born in a country where it's illegal to be gay. 90, I think around, it was in Jamaica, so it's Jamaica, around 80% of black people believe that the death penalty was right. I am not, I was not, that is not a safe space to come out in. A country full of black people, and it was not a safe space to come in. Yes, there's other things happening, the colonisation, the after effects of the colonisation, like the foreign Western countries still supporting supporting homophobic groups within the country and funding them.
Which country did
Those
you
kind
say
of
did
things.
that?
Jamaica.
You know why that? You know why that is?
I know why homophobia is in Jamaica, but at this
Okay.
point, these are grown people who should know better, as
No,
far as I'm
that's
concerned.
multi-generational trauma.
That's not an excuse. I'm sorry, but I understand where the
It's
homophobia
not an
comes from.
excuse, but it is a reason, and we have
It's
to
a
understand
reason, and
that
it's a
with
reason,
nuance.
and it's a reason I'm sick of the people who grew up in Jamaica using as an excuse not to change.
Well, I do understand that nothing should be an excuse not to change. However, we have to understand the history that what happened in Jamaica is not the fault of those people. So when you hold people accountable, also you have to remember the context in which they learned this behavior. This was not a behavior that they brought to with them from Africa. This was something that was perpetuated onto them, and it might take generations to heal that trauma. I'm not making an excuse, but it could take a long time before Jamaica actually changes that. And there's another issue in the Uganda as well. And I'm not making excuses, but Jamaica and let's say Chicago is once again an unsafe place for anyone black, or the Congo for that matter. The Congo is the least safe place for black people on earth today. It's not Europe. It's not. I'm going to put you on mute, Renee. You got a lot of noise, and you keep turning it on so we can hear you breathe. All right, so um, the most dangerous place for black people on earth is in Africa. It's the Congo. It's the most dangerous place for men. It's the most dangerous place for the sisters. The most dangerous place for black people on earth is in the Congo, a black place. So when we use these examples of black communities that are dangerous to black people, we need to remember that the reason the Congo is dangerous is because of outside forces fueling the humanitarian crisis in the Congo. We need to keep our eyes on our common oppressor and the reasons for these conditions. It's multi generational trauma, and it is the fact that we are still an oppressed group. It's not just black people are inherently homophobic or inherently patriarchal. All right, yeah, you can unmute now.
I just don't. I just. Something. I'll give you a personal example. I understand that the reason the group of boys did what they did to me was because what they've been taught about homosexuality. However, I am not going to. I'm not. I am. I do not feel inclined to be understanding or to be sympathetic or be understanding, like, oh, that if like one of these straight men came to me now and told me, oh, I only held you down and tried to grape you to turn you straight because I've been taught that lesbianism could be changed, because I've been taught that in the
Would you
Bible
never
that could be.
forgive someone that did that?
I'm not particularly sympathetic, or I understand why they felt that, why those boys thought that was okay. However, I'm not, when that had such a great harm onto me, I'm not going to particularly accept that as an excuse. Like you shouldn't have fucking raped someone. Like, do better.
Okay, so I first want to say I'm sorry that that even happened to you, and that that is a part of an experience that has really shaped a lot in regard. Like you have a lot of trauma, and I think the most important thing in this situation is to understand that even in the midst of this conversation, like no one wishes that kind of harm on you, like at all. Like no one's gonna sit here and be like, that's okay. That's why the key thing that we say in this live is like it's about Black people moving forward. The sad part about it is the history and the context that where you come from and where you are now, it seems like it's affecting your thought process towards Black people. And it can be detrimental to you because now you put yourself more in proximity to people that are far more dangerous to you that are not
Mm.
Black than you do people that are Black. And I would say this,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like you need a safe space, not that people have to be into hell, find people that are gender fluid, but it doesn't have to be that their sexual orientation is the same as yours for them to genuinely love and care and want to hear you and validate your feelings. Like that's the most important thing. But I'm gonna be honest, you sound really hurt, and we don't want to open that. Like you don't want to open that kind of stuff on
Yeah,
the
not on
live.
TikTok.
Yeah, you don't want to
No,
do
no,
that.
but I just want to like sit. I think the thing is the issue is that when you're a gay person in a majority Black country, you experience homophobia before you experience racism.
Yeah,
Like
you're
that
Yeah.
experiencing
because you.
xenophobia. Yes, I agree.
And as a black
So
man,
that
you
has
experience
to
patriarchy
be
before you experience before you experience racism. As a black sister, you experience misogyny before you experience racism because these things happen within proximity. And that's why there is no hierarchy of oppression. We're all faced with racism and patriarchy, which are two a husband and wife in this society together in different ways. It has different expressions. It affects us all differently, but one is not more oppressed than the other.
so just that last point about the DV stats. The thing about those DV stats is that they take it because the thing is, I know which stats you're talking about. The thing with those DV stats is let me just gather my thoughts for a
Take
minute.
a few breaths. Take a few breaths,
Yeah,
Renee.
we got to go to the next guest.
One,
We've
it
been doing this
takes.
for a while.
Let me just finish this quick point. There's a difference between bisexual women vs lesbian women in terms of DV. Bisexual women report 90% of their abusers as being men, not women. And then for lesbian women, that stat about women abusing women at a higher rate, what that doesn't tell you that what people misread and forget about that stat is that includes previous male partners that lesbians had before they came out as gay or before they realised they were gay. So I think it was like when you take out the stats from the previous male partners before the lesbians came out or realised they were gay, the rate drops by 40%, and it's like the same or lower than straight women's. So it's not. That study wasn't looking at the perpetrators; it was looking at
Right.
the victims. Queer
Okay.
women, yes, are more likely to be queer people are more likely to be victims of DV, regardless of gender. But when they actually look at the stats, perpetrators are mostly men. Just because it says a lesbian, a lot of lesbians have dated men for whatever reason. There are social reasons, so there are many different reasons. So that included their previous male partners. And when you drop those male partners, it's actually lower than straight women's. Bisexual women have the highest rate, and their perpetrators are 90% men.
Okay. Well, thank you for clarifying that. And I'm going to leave it there. I appreciate you coming up. I'll go to the next guest. Africa Superstar. What's good, sister?
Hello, how are you doing? Good evening.
All right.
Yeah,
That's superstar. I don't think you
Courtney,
are.
Black, one and only pronouns. What's up, Diva? How you doing? Shout outs to everybody in the building. That was a heavy discussion that I came in on. And all I would like to say to preface that is I think we as a people need to do better at just being kinder to each other in
Mm-hmm.
general. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
a I'm not an enthusiast of the LGBT and all of that, but the way that we treat each other, the way that women treat the males, the way the males treat the women, the way that we address their community as well is not great.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there
Mm-hmm.
needs to be some solidarity and some respect
Yeah.
how people are choosing to live their lives, because you can see that the young lady was so choked up she couldn't barely talk about
Right.
what has happened to her. So anyway,
I
moving
didn't
on.
want her to go there, to be honest.
Yeah, it's but see, you're gonna open up these cans with these topics because a lot
I
of
know.
people, our people, have so many issues, and it's really unfortunate. That's something that
Yeah.
I learned growing up. I was fortunate to not really go through a lot of drama in my upbringing, but as I got older, I saw just how many people have experienced so many traumatic experiences from their homes and community and bullying in school. And it's really terrible.
My thing
Um,
is, I just want to remind y'all that black men are just as scared as black men. Black men are just as scared of black men as y'all are. Y'all think, you know what I'm saying? Like, the same
yeah.
people that are the bullies of our community around the sisters and the
Right. They bully the brothers
homosexual,
too.
they are a problem too.
Right.
They will
Exactly.
unalive us too, you know. So
Right.
we
Right. Of
we
course.
definitely all feel it in different ways. And I just try to bring that out because it unifies us against a common enemy, as opposed to telling each other that we all have different enemies we need to work on and we don't need to unify. We can have freedom for those over there, and the women will go that way, the brothers will go that way, and everyone can just fight
And
their
that's
own little oppressor in their own little corner. Like, no, none of this benefits either of us,
any of
any
us.
of us,
Right.
and we got to
Absolutely.
come together at some point. So I'm always going
Absolutely.
to bring it back to unity. I don't care how much y'all want to come up here and try to divide us based on these intersections. I'm always going to bring it back to unity.
Absolutely. And I'll revert to that in just a moment. Getting
Mm-hmm.
to the questions, can white people be pro-black? Factually, anyone can do anything per se, but in order for a white person to be pro-black, that would have to make them choose black people over their own people, and that is very unlikely, and that is what they never do. So they can appear to be, they can pretend to be an ally, they can pretend to, or maybe perhaps they are sympathetic in some cases or whatever. A lot of you people in the comments that have these associations will always say, no, they're there for me, they got my back, they've been my friend since third grade, whatever. But when you would have to ask that pertinent question, if there was a situation where they had to choose to align with their people and align with you on your causes,
Mm-hmm.
the very, very high probability is that they will go with their own people. And that is what they has historically been doing. Whenever we have these discussions, it's always relevant to just reference the past. If they were pro-black and if they cared about our people and our well-being, then that would be demonstrated over the past centuries, that we have been living with them in the Western world, basically. And it has never occurred. It's never occurred. It's not, the infrastructure is not even being developed for it to happen in the future. So it's safe to say that no. Now, just to group the feminism in and the LGBT, like you said, we all have a common enemy. And, me, I'm a Pan-African pro-black person. So I'm for things that are for the growth and edification of my community. With that being said, feminism destroys, in most cases, the traditional family unit. because it pits the woman against the man. And it also perpetuates that a woman doesn't need a man. And as you can see in our community, we have picked this up with this whole strong Black independent woman. We've picked up this campaign more than any other ethnicity of women have, and some of these people that are masquerading as feminists are actually behind the scenes maintaining marriages and families and all of that, while they are coming out and encouraging other women to, do it on their own, or maybe be a part of other communities and this and that and the other. So feminism, in my opinion, does not benefit the Black. It's breaking down the family unit, because there's so much tension between the males and the females right now. I mean, how we need to be coming together. This is how you actually create the foundation of community, is by way of family. And so if we're enemies, but in the larger scheme, this is all part of population control, and you guys may not see it, because obviously if you're warring with each other, you're not coming together and creating families, and healthy families. You may be procreating, but not properly raising those children in a family unit. And again, we have countless examples on this channel every day of all the dysfunctional people, and they typically do gravitate to these alternative lifestyles. They become feminists, they go to interracial relationships, they participate in the LGBT. And when you ask them why, it's because it's almost always rooted in some kind of situation they had. They were molested, they were abused, they were bullied, they were rejected by their people. It's never a genuine, I just gravitated to that because it's what I always wanted to be. It always has some kind of catalyst that said, okay, well, I was rejected, so these people accepted me in, these people kind of shielded me, so I'm going to go to this area. More specifically, does the LGBT movement benefit the community? Again, it is counterintuitive to the traditional family unit. And obviously, homosexuals have been in existence for, the inception. I mean, there's lots of documentation that it's always been practiced. But the thing about it is, especially in the Western world, it is now being heavily, heavily promoted through the media, through music, through visual arts, and it is influencing people that may not be their orientation, but it's influencing them to consider it and participate in a lifestyle, which again is also reducing the amount of people that are available for traditional relationships, because if they are engaging in that community, then either if they're going back and forth, that's even worse, but if they are in that community, then that means they're not available for people that they otherwise would have had relationships with or made families with, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to say a hard no on the feminism and the LGBT movement. I can't really see the benefit. Obviously, people that
I'll
are
be honest.
participating in them would say,
Yeah, that last question was about the movement, not the identity. I feel like your answer was more directed at those that identify as LGBT. I was focused on the political movement. I don't want to play semantics. When you say participate, they don't see it as participation. They see it more as a preference, or part of how they express their sexuality, things of that, who they love, things like that. I would say, there have been ancestors that did have formed some of these relationships with members of the same gender, but would they identify as homosexual, or would they identify as anything outside of being part of their tribe? No.
no. And the thing is that, again, it has always been practiced globally, usually behind closed doors. And that is how it has been. But unusually in the West, and now it has trickled into other nations, it's being promoted. I mean, it's being promoted.
Now, see,
It's
that's the
one
thing.
thing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So and they're also using the face of this LGBT movement is the black male. The last time I flew to the US, which was a couple years ago, I mean, it was unbelievable. When I got there, I could just feel the energy. I mean, it's just like they're everywhere. They're on all the sitcoms. They're even on billboards. I remember I saw this big, huge billboard of Magic Johnson's son because he was having a reality show. He was doing a reality show, EJ Johnson. And I was just like, this is crazy that, they're using the black male now to kind of be the face, of this stuff. And
Mm.
therefore influencing others to, get on board. So, 'cause similar to what they did with the Black Lives, the Black Lives Matter movement. You see they hijacked that, but they were pushing it as it was like our movement. We were the inception of it and all that. But then they, took it over. So it's like they use us as a mascot, basically, is what I'm trying to say for these things. And we should always be cautious of whatever is in the mainstream because that is not for us. They have an agenda for the things that they are pushing. We'll say, oh, wow, it's for inclusion. It's for, representation. No, it always has that dirty underbelly attached to it,
Mm.
So that's what I wanted to add to this discussion today.
I think when we okay,
Go ahead, dude.
this is the scary part about our communities, right? I think I keep referencing back to us showing up black. And we had someone that was a part of the community, I think, brother, like last week, that said it perfectly, said that, who said it really good, and then Tia came behind them, was that it almost it places their sexuality before your race. So
Yeah.
in these conversations, I think anything that kind of takes away from you pushing black people forward can be detrimental to black community. But how black people in our community identify based on their sexuality, I don't think it's something that is necessarily a choice. I think that a lot of people have had terrible things happen to them, but I think I know people that are like, no, this is what I've always been attracted to. And I think as long as we're accepting of our people and who they choose to be and how they show up, yeah, that's the most important thing. I think that's where you started off African and saying we just gotta love, our people. And I think no matter how we show up, if we start loving each other regardless and loving on each other regardless, we can move forward as a collective without having to separate someone based on their preference or their sexuality in regards to our community or the people that they choose to align themselves with that are black.
Right.
But I think that's a thing. Sorry, go ahead, brother.
So that's where I was trying to. Yeah, I think D, you just said it perfectly. Be honest. The identifying yourself, how you love is Eurocentric. Identifying yourself with an identity based on how or who you love is Eurocentric. Loving someone or being in a same-sex relationship is not Eurocentric. That comes from Africa. But identifying, for example, if I said, "Hey D, what'd you have for breakfast today?"
Nothing.
D said, "What'd you say?"
I eat nothing.
Oh, you ain't. I know. That's why I wasn't going to actually ask y'all because most of y'all don't even eat breakfast. But anyway, if I said, "Hey D, what'd you have for breakfast today?" She said Reese's Puffs. African Superstar says she had pancakes. Crazy down here says she had waffles. Let's say I had a fruit bowl. Now, are we all going to stop being black people and say, I identify as a fruit bowlist. She identifies as a pancakeist. She's a Reese's Cupsist, and I forgot what I said, African. Someone had waffles. You see what I'm saying? Now we're identifying, we're creating identities around what we do, what we chose. It wasn't a choice. I really prefer to eat fruit in the morning. So it's not a choice. I really made this is my preference. I prefer to eat it. Now, if eating fruit is what's in the best interest of your people, would you do it? That gets kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. But I will say that choosing to identify yourself with anything as black, anything before your blackness, before you are willing to unite with your people, is where it gets problematic, especially when you use anti-blackness and homophobia is part of anti-blackness. When you use that as your reasoning behind it, that's no difference than Candace Owens, who says she can't unite with us because of black on black crime. So that's all I'm saying.
But
Yeah,
last,
yeah. I totally agree with both of what you guys are saying. I mean, and that's the thing, is that with these communities, they're doing precisely that. They are going to align with their communities before their race, and they're going to find out, that, buddy, you're still black, no matter which side you're on, or wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like D said, you can't always look at a person and determine their lifestyle and their sexuality and all of that, but you can determine their race. So that's should be where we align and say, okay, we're black first too. But I do recognize that, the problem with that is, again, what many people have echoed, which is the hostility that they're worried about among their people. And so when they want to be black first, they might think, well, damn, you know what I'm saying? I fear whatever circumstances it is that they've either encountered or whatever, especially, I guess, with the LGBT. I
Right.
know that it's very, very severe in Jamaica, where that young lady was coming from. I've heard this and I've seen, I mean, really heinous stuff goes down there. So, and I think also with me being here in Ghana, naturally, like you said, you're not dealing with the foreigners in large part. You're not living with white people. So you're not seeing how they are doing things and reacting to you, but you are seeing what your peers are doing. So to
Mm-hmm.
you, that is more relevant than what you are not encountering. So if you're in a
Mm-hmm.
black majority environment and you're facing homophobia or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then you're seeing your own people as the perpetuators of this reaction to you, and so on and so forth. you
Right.
know
Yeah.
yeah. So let me
Absolutely.
Can I
yes.
mention one thing though about the LGBTQ community and our community and people thinking that and this isn't, I don't think the African superstar had said anything like this, but I've been seeing it a lot with people saying that there's an agenda and being pushed on the black community. One thing people need to understand: the LGBT community lived in fear, so they weren't able to be who they are. A lot of them married the opposite sex because of fear, because that's what they were supposed to do. So if you see all these people coming out and saying, oh, I'm part of the community, maybe it's just that they feel liberated and safe enough to do that. It's not something that was pushed on them and they woke up one day. A lot of people, from my understanding, they're born part of the community, and with that said, they lived in fear. So it's not this agenda that they
I
just
would say
woke
they're
up.
not born a part of the community, but they can be
Uh-huh.
born. They can be born with that preference, or um, they can be born with that. I don't know, habit that they can be born with a. Is affinity the right word? They can be born with
mm-hmm.
an affinity to.
Capacity, maybe.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
they
I
can
know
be
exactly what you're
born
saying.
in
Yeah, no,
that
that makes sense.
direction,
Right.
but community is when it becomes problematic, because this is what I'm trying to say. The identity is
Yeah.
Eurocentric. The
Right.
identity is what's Eurocentric, not the act, not the lifestyle. It's just before we didn't have a name for each lifestyle and divide ourselves up based on this lifestyle, because that's where it becomes problematic. Some of us think we're part of the purple part of the rainbow, the red part, the blue part. Everyone's a different color, and no, why are we splitting ourselves up based on these smaller identities when unity should be the first thing on our mind? Umoja. So That's when it, like in Ghana, Uganda, on the African continent, you're hard pressed to find a word for these identities that are constructs only because our colonizer has said so. So you're not going to find a ancient African pride flag because you were part of your tribe. And we can get into the different gender expressions, the different there was much more gender fluidity. You know, we were more unisex from our hairstyles to what we wore. There was a lot of things that
Yeah,
were.
and I think he even
Yeah.
said it before. They didn't. The ancient Africa didn't have that identity. It was just part of the community. It wasn't.
Didn't even have pronouns. No
Right,
pronouns.
right. So I think my point was more so focused on some people are are attracted to it have a taboo, right? Something that was bad, that was evil, and they kept it inside, and now they feel like they have the safe space to do it. I
Yeah.
don't think it's something that they woke up to. You know what I'm saying? I think
But
that. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. Someone had said in the chat, and I think it was very worthy of pointing out. I think it's Melosphere. When you said they are integrated, she said thank you, because back in the day, gay, trans, bi was more integrated within the race. I don't think they had an option of being a part of any other community. Firstly, but I want to say, to your point, you're very much right, because I can't think of the exact leader that was part of a civil rights movement, but he was very much gay. Do you remember who it was, Brother Legend? Oh God, he was literally one of the biggest leaders.
Yeah, I
James Baldwin.
forgot. I
James Baldwin.
forgot.
Is that who it
He was a
was?
big one. James
No,
Baldwin.
no, this person.
Well, he's
Oh,
a big one too, though. So
yeah, he
you
is.
know.
He is a very good. So that's what I was trying to
Oh, you're
explain.
talking
Is
about James Baldwin, and
no,
Oh no,
it's
it might
I
have
thought
been
you were talking about
Langston
on
Hughes.
TikTok.
Somebody
Langston Hughes. I think
Oh,
that's who
said
it
okay,
it.
was.
Langston
Langston Hughes.
Hughes. Yeah.
Yes. So it's the idea is that you show up as who you are, but we move as a people. And I think that is the dynamic that when brother was saying the separation has really hurt us more than helped us, because the divide or the need to judge based on how you show up in regards to your sexuality is more harmful than it is us coming together and saying, hell, you live the way you choose to live, I live the way I choose to live. But as Black people, we need to be liberating ourselves. And I think it's bigger than just saying how someone chooses to
Mm-hmm.
sleep with someone or not.
Okay.
Can I
Hey
say
man, we're
something?
having a real ass discussion today, man. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna come to you in a moment, Star. Hold on just a moment. Appreciate everybody. We're having a real ass discussion. Thank you for tapping like. Keep tapping like. We're trying to get to 100K. Keep tapping like. We're trying to get to 100K. Let the algorithm know that you're getting value from the live. If you've had sweet potato pie in the past week, I really need you to tap like. And if you have a little fist on the end of your comb, please tap like. You know what I mean. If you had green bean casserole last week, for any reason whatsoever, holiday or not, do not tap like. We are good, but if you want to participate in the conversation, feel free to join. We don't need y'all tapping like. All right, Star, go ahead. Give us your age, race, and pronouns.
I'm 20. I'm 25. She, her, and you said race, right?
Yes, please.
I'm Black. I'm blackity black.
All right. Appreciate you.
Oh,
Talk to us.
okay. I just wanted to let y'all know what is really actually harming the Black community is white supremacy in a whole. And I don't think a lot of y'all actually understand what that actually is. It's not just racism against us. It's also homophobia, transphobia, ableism, et cetera, et cetera. And included in that, I don't think the African beauty, I forgot her name, but I don't think a lot of y'all even know that the nuclear family that a lot of y'all be talking about, the men and women and they have children, I don't think a lot of y'all know that that's actually a white supremacist idea. That thing that literally is a thing that was brought to us. So when you're saying, oh, feminism is making women go against men, no, feminism is calling men to calling men accountable for the things that they have, that the harm that they have caused, not against just women but against their own themselves and children alike. Literally the entire world. We can literally see how misogyny and misogynoir is literally harming and unaliving children, you, me, everybody, and you as well, and even men as well. I don't think a lot of y'all really genuinely understand how deep it actually goes. And before colonization, there, what happened was we were more community mind. When you know the saying, like, what's the saying, raise a kid with the freaking community. I forgot to say it.
It takes
Look, I'm playing
a
with
village
Sam's
to
right
raise a
now.
child.
Yes, it takes a village to raise a child. That, like, I don't think a lot of y'all know, before colonization, we were more community mind. Now during colonization, what colonization did is spread capitalism. And under capitalism, we was forced to be in in this marriage system, like it is, like how the marriage system is now, right? This is what colonization and capitalism has done to us, made us believe that women are supposed to be subservient and docile and in the home taking care of kids, and men are supposed to just work and go fight wars and stop. I'm sorry, but yes, and the thing about the LGBT, a lot of y'all black people, it is harmful that y'all are allowing literally white supremacy, and y'all are literally allowing that to harm us. Listen, if somebody a part of the LGBT, I will tell you this right now. We do not choose. This is not no choice. I didn't just wake up one day and said, oh yeah, I like women. No, I didn't even know lesbian was even a thing. I found out that I was actually bisexual and pansexual when I was in high school. I didn't even know these things were things. And then on top of that, I don't think a lot of y'all, when y'all sit here and say, oh, y'all, it seems like y'all are pushing away from us or something like this. There are reasons on why the black LGBT differentiate. We make ourselves different from y'all because y'all are upholding white supremacy and we do not. We are not just LGBT. We are protesting. We are in organizations. We are doing the work. Y'all are literally looking at us doing the work and literally saying, oh no, but you gay though. Like it makes no sense. Y'all, I don't think, and then for you to say, and then who, as somebody in the LGBT that is black and American, I do not think y'all know how we see what the black LGBT have to deal with. I don't think y'all understand how deep it actually is and what we see. When you say black men are becoming the face of LGBT, I have to laugh because I know you are not in our community. I know you ain't in our community, bro. We literally see, like, every time something goes down, every time something happens to something, it's always with somebody white. It's always a white LGBT. Most of the time, most of the issues that y'all think y'all have with the black LGBT, it's mostly the white. It's the white ones. It is not us. It's not us, bro. We are trying to tell them to shut up. No one listens to us. What do you think? What do you think if y'all know white people ain't gonna listen to black people? What do you think it's like in any other community? Y'all think that it for you to say that,
And
like,
why you
bro,
around white people?
black dudes being the face of the LGBT. You literally, that you saying that means you do not know what goes down. You is not looking in our community, and you are not informed. That's why I said in the comments, girl, you don't know what you're talking about. You really don't, because that is not true at all. And any black person will tell you that. Any black person, anybody will tell you that. That is just not true at all. And I just really wanted y'all to understand how deep it actually goes. And it's not just this. It's not just, it's not it's not as simple as a lot of y'all think it is. It's way more nuanced. I'm sorry, that's it.
All right, so that was quite a word. There was a lot of nuance I feel that was lacking with some of that, but overall, I think that was very enlightening. I agree with most of what she said. What about you, D?
Black men are
Crickets.
not portrayed. Oh, that makes no sense.
Yeah,
Y'all
that
are
yeah. Well, it does
y'all
make
letting
there is.
femininity.
Makes sense. And it is how it is. I
No,
mean,
it's not. That makes
I'm not a part of
no
your
sense. Y'all are
community.
letting y'all like literally femininity and masculinity is literal white supremacist kind of like colonization thought thinking. That is not literally what a lot of y'all think femininity and masculinity actually is literally not real things. They created that.
Okay, well, a male that dresses like a woman, wears makeup, maybe changes his genitalia to mimic and be a woman or appear like a woman. Is that normal or what?
Oh no, we don't want to go there. I don't want to go
It's
there.
No,
been
I
I don't
mean,
want to.
normal.
I'm
It's
just
We don't
always
want to
saying.
been
go there
normal.
with
I'm
the
just
It's always
normal
been
and
because
the.
normal.
because
It's
because
always been normal.
previously
It's
there
always
there are
been
a lot of
normal.
there are a lot of
It's always been
homosexual men
normal. It's
that are
always been
still
normal. It's
appear
always
as
been
they
normal.
are.
It's always been normal. It's always been normal. I
Shouldn't
want
have
you to
went
know
there.
that it's always been normal.
Okay,
Shouldn't have
well,
went
What
you
there.
know what?
hasn't,
Look,
what actually isn't normal, what
respectfully,
actually isn't
Star,
normal is actually
respectfully,
homophobia and transphobia. That's what's not normal, actually. Those are real, those are new concepts, if you didn't know.
respectfully, we can disagree. I'm not going to negate. You're a
This
part
is
of the
not
community,
so
so
this is
you
the
would know
issue in
more
this,
than
and
me.
ooh, this
So
is
you
one of
would
the
know more
issues that
than
I
me.
had with y'all when
So
y'all do not accept facts for what it is. When I say it has always been
When you
normal,
say
that is literally
y'all,
a
see
fact.
that's what threw me
That
off. Is you
it
keep
is
saying.
literally a fact.
I
I'm
understand,
saying
Star.
when I
You
say
keep
y'all, when I
saying
say y'all,
y'all a certain way, and that's part of what makes the LGBT movement anti-black. Is when you keep
how
making
is it
this
anti-black when
distinction.
y'all are literally
Because when you
upholding
keep
white
saying
supremacist thinking
them,
points?
when you keep saying there's us and then there's y'all, that's a problem. Unifying
Yes,
black people
yes.
it should be the goal. And I will agree with you that a lot of hetero patriarchal black people are definitely going to be an obstacle to that unity. And we need to call them out too. But we also cannot start saying us and y'all within our own community.
What I
So
mean,
who is y'all? Just give us that definition.
when I'm saying y'all, I am literally meaning I am talking about every single black person that upholds white supremacy. I don't care what type it is. Any black person that upholds white supremacy, I'm talking about all of them. That's what I mean. I'm not saying y'all as black people as a whole or black or the or heterosexual black people in general. What I
Mm-hmm.
am talking about is the black people that uphold white supremacy, and that is
Okay.
included in the black LGBT as well. I'm talking about them too. I'm bringing them. I'm calling them to arms too. I'm talking to everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for the clarification. So, that being the premise of your point, um, I'm not mad. Somebody might have heard something different. Talk. Come on, y'all all muted.
Hey, no, well, no, and
Uh huh.
she's right. I'm gonna just say this: our governor of Oregon, um, white lesbian married woman, she wrote recently over the summer. And when I look at their policies, all I'm looking for is the policies that are going to impact the black community, right? And these were specifically for children. And we know the stats of black children unaliving themselves here in Portland, astronomical. Not one bill or policy that she signed her name on over the summer included black children. It included indigenous children, it included rural community children, it included LGBTQ and trans children, it included every child but black children specifically. So yeah, that LGBT movement, for in my opinion, I agree with Star. It is white supremacy. In some ways, it's very much white supremacy. Very much
Now
so.
here's where I'll um
Baby, that is not what I
maybe
was saying.
add a nuance. I'm not going to say what African superstar said, but to our oppressor, which is more palatable, a straight man or a gay black man? Like a straight black man or a gay black man? Which is more palatable to our oppressor?
A gay black man to them,
Bingo.
because they seem less strong and less
Thank
threatening. That's just how I see it. I see that all the time. When you strong and you like are not gay, they look at you differently. They're more afraid of you. But when you act more feminine, they more likely to accept you. And I don't get that, but I'm gonna just say from history, they got a history of that, sweetie. Back in slavery, what they used to do. They they have a history of doing that. I mean, it's just what it is. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and for
All
I
right.
wish I don't never stay
So
long.
so here's the thing. I didn't say they wasn't oppressed. Somebody in the comments said they're oppressed. No one said they wasn't oppressed. Calm down. We're deep into some nuance right now. So that's why I need everybody in your answers to make sure you're using accurate vocabulary. We're deep into some nuance. So nothing is black and white in this area. Like we're talking in nuance. And I would have to agree with you on that because even Little Richard himself, Fruity Tooty Good Booty, Little Richard. Um, that was the name of that. That was the original lyrics to that song, by the way. He even he said he could get away with things James Brown couldn't because the white T power structure did not deem him as much of a threat around white women who would fawn over rock stars. So uh, that is a thing Dr. Francis Cress Welsing brings up as well, that black men in society are not seen as men. We know that, like Sister Stars just said, these definitions of masculine and feminine are given to us by our oppressor. She said that they were invented by them. I'll push back on that. Masculine and feminine energy existed on the African continent. However, the definitions we use today are definitely from our oppressor. That being the case, a man has 5 choices of where he's going to fit in society. He's a man, a woman, a boy, a girl, or a baby. Black men are not seen as men. So that one's taken out. If I tell you the man is coming, or the man is on his way, going all the way back to our enslavement, the man was a white T man. A black man can put on the white T man's shoes when he's not around, but we have to. You'll even see in boardrooms and meetings across the country that black men relinquish their power. They'll give up even the dominant seat in the boardroom to the white T man when he comes to town. So that being the case, black men are not seen as men. They call us boy. We marched up and down the street and told them we are not a boy. Michael from Good Times said boy is a white racist word. We don't want to be a boy. That leaves us with 3 options: baby, girl, or woman. A lot of times, black men choose to be a baby. We call, like rappers, Lil Baby, the baby. Birdman, his name is Baby. We call our house the crib. We call our woman Ma, and treat our women like our mothers sometimes. There was even a time when sometimes we'll put Baby Boy is another one, that movie. There was a time in the 90s when black men was putting pacifiers in their mouth, walking around with pacifiers in their mouth and bobos in their hair. So the baby thing is one internalized identity because of the pressure that the patriarchy puts on black men. We're not basically allowed to be men. So we have to choose another one. But the professor also prefers us to be a woman or a girl because that way we're not a direct threat to white patriarchy. And the same reason why a baby is available. So that's just a brief rundown. If y'all want to hear someone say that better, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing gives a 2010 lecture on YouTube where she breaks that down. But yeah, so that's the thing.
I had a video on my page of a YT man explaining something, and this is another page I'm on. They took that page because of the material I was putting up, but this YT man said that um, when the YT man see a YT woman with a black man, he wonders what she sees in him. That
Mm-hmm.
he would like him more, but this is the part that threw everybody off. It said his goal is to go to a Lakers game and go into the locker room to see the black men with no clothes on. I said, "Oh my goodness."
Mm.
Nah, they really like what I said earlier, honey. They about that life. It really wasn't us pushing that. They want y'all. That's always
I
been a
can't go
thing.
that far. I can't go that far. But I hear you. I hear you.
And I
But
would just like to
I
say
can't go that far.
before
I'm
before
sure
I
they do
go.
want us. Everybody want us. Um.
Yeah, I just want to
Uh.
say before I go.
Okay.
In my case, I'm black first. So I see the black first, and then, you know what I mean, before all the other ways that we choose to identify. I don't claim that the LGBT is not part of black people. You know, I don't separate that. I understand they're part of the umbrella. You know, which is why I made the statement I said when I first came on, which is we all need to be kinder to each other and respect each other however we choose to live our lives. You know what I mean? But the bottom line is, are these things an overall benefit to our community? The conversation is just showing how it creates a lot of confusion, and we're segmenting each other instead of aligning on the real issue at hand. And we're all facing various versions of racism and things like that, no matter which echelons we're in. So I think that we should just, focus on that. So that's
Mm-hmm.
what I want to say.
Okay. All
Oh,
right.
so let me say
Uh,
my two
I
things before I go. All right. Because I just told you that, but I wanted to say my two things. You know how I discuss. I'm really in and out. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
think nobody that is YT ever pro black. They try to only infiltrate us to see what we're doing, sweetie. We shouldn't be living around them. We shouldn't be talking to them. We shouldn't be working with them. None of that stuff. They have never showed any compassion for us at any time. So I don't understand why it's a big deal now that they don't want to live with us. But then when we say we don't want to live with them, now we racist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen that? Have you noticed that now we racist?
Yeah.
And my thing is this: if we giving you what you asked for, so now we still the problem. How are we
Mm-hmm.
the problem? And then this the thing about feminine. That stuff was put in our neighborhood to break up black families. That's all that was, honey. They just took the men away by saying, "I'm not gonna give you no kind of help, but you have to let." Now, YT women back at that time could get welfare, and their husband lived with them, but why couldn't a black man live with his wife? That was all set up, honey. And the
Mm-hmm.
LGBTT, whatever, I can't, the LGBT, as far as they concerned, is this. I have not heard one of them say, "I am black first." The first thing that come out their mouth is that I am gay, or I am this, or I am that. This the thing. You got to pick a team and play. You can't say you that first, but then when you need the black community, then you're gonna run over here. So you have to understand, you have to pick who you want to be with. You are black all day long. That is never gonna change. Cause
Mm-hmm.
some people can really like say this with YT people, and I am not joking. I've seen this 4 or 5 times. When they don't want to be gay no more, they can go back to being exactly what they are, just a regular old white person. YT person, and that's it. And no, everybody forgets all that. We don't have that choice, honey. They never let us ever forget what we have done. Never. So that's just what it is. And that's all I had. You can give me the pause, sir. I don't care about that. I do not care about them clowns. They know I don't, honey, because I'll bring all the
Oh
smoke, honey. I'm older, but you can get the smoke if you want. But
my
that's
goodness.
all I wanted to say. But thank you for letting me come on.
On that note, I'm gonna
okay.
have to activate the Holy Spirit, brother,
Oh
because
yes, ma'am.
ooh,
All right, then K, you go.
Holy
Go ahead.
Spirit, activate. Got started, mate. Holy
Light
Spirit,
the
activate,
sage.
activate, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Hello, everyone. You have officially aborted the Brother Legend airline. On this airline, we don't offer popcorn, we don't give you candy, but we can give you an ASS kicking. We have no problem with doing that. So you guys, I'm gonna ask that you tap, 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 tap that screen. 100K is goal, but let's shoot for 125. You guys tap the screen, share the live, share with your friends, your enemies.
Share it with your enemies. Hell, share it with the poons too. We like to fight. And at the end of the day, make sure you subscribe. Subscribe to Brother Legends Live. Subscribe here on TikTok and make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Now, I don't want to mess up the Discord.
B1 Initiative.
B1 Initiative. So go ahead and subscribe, tune in, and turn up, you guys. At the end of the day, send those panther paws when you don't agree with the poons on the panel. But you guys stop. Oh, I almost said a bad word. Stop tinkerbelling and get in the game. You haven't been playing today. What's going on? Send the paws.
Appreciate you, sister. Yeah, y'all could have been sent some pause. It must be a good conversation. That's what I think. When it's a good conversation, nobody sends pause. When someone start crossing the line, except I don't know that one marshmallow fella definitely did cross the lines a few times. But go ahead, Sister K, talk to us.
Thank you for having me. And I was gonna say it was, I mean, it was definitely a conversation. I'll say that much because I still feel like it's just a level of division, and I wish it wasn't that because, like you said, brother, this is a very nuanced topic, and it would be improper of me and the person I am and the identity that whatever I choose to identify with to tell anybody else what they are first or what they are last because that's what I don't think it's about. Like I can't tell you, what you want to be. I think the problem, the disconnect a lot has come that a lot of these people don't feel affirmed even in their identities. Like I don't know what that's like to live that life. I didn't pick who I was. I'm heterosexual. I'm not even a part of the community. So I can't answer for how that feels to be black and also this, other identity. Cause it's like our community
But
really
see,
kind of
the
don't
problem
accept
with
them
what you're
too. And it's
saying,
I mean,
I
I'm not
got
saying it's our fault, but I'm just saying
No. I'm
I
saying the
can't.
problem what you're saying is you're referring to it as an identity, which is a colonial construct.
Well,
That's
okay, you're right. I don't agree with the.
bisexual,
I
lesbian, gay, trans. These are all colonial constructs.
I
You
don't
see what I'm
agree. I
saying?
agree with you. I
So
agree
when
with
you're
you. I'm not
saying you can't
saying
tell
that.
someone what to identify as first, when we identified each other as Ubuntu, as Bantu, as other things as part of a tribe with a communal aspect to and how we identified. And even when we talk about Black Power and we talk about being Black, we're identifying as a community based on the root of all other oppression. So all other oppression, homophobia, patriarchy, all this other stuff is rooted in anti-Blackness. So you see what I'm saying?
No, I definitely agree with you, brother. I do believe it's rooted in anti-blackness. It's rooted in racism. And like y'all said before, we didn't have these titles. It's created from division, right? And as much as I don't like it, and I don't like to use it either, it's like a mirror image of how I feel about the reality that there are people that don't, say that they are black at all. Like they don't even own that identity. I think it's, I'm not trying to adapt to these words. I'm just trying to extend my hand to them in the way they understand. Because the reality is, most people don't know Ubuntu. And they really are not going to understand it because the system we're encased in. Like, it's so nuanced. Like, how do I tell somebody about this whole other thing when they're entrenched in indoctrination?
I
Like,
ask
from
myself this
birth.
every day.
It's almost an impossibility. Like I fully agree with you. Like we lived in a harmonious state where none of this really mattered and everyone was Ubuntu under their true nature. Like we were one. But it's just so sad because I don't want to, I don't want to offend and I don't want to assert. I just want to extend, my thoughts, my understanding, and if I can reach them with Ubuntu and saying that we need to deconstruct these labels, and I'm not ignoring these labels or these identities, but we got to realize the greater image is that unity. Like we trying to get back to Ubuntu, right? I'm
I
not
would right,
disregarding.
and so we can't bring labels and identities with us when we go back to that, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying is we have to not ignore their oppression,
Yes. That's what
their
I'm saying.
specific intersection of oppression and how intersectionality affects them differently than it might affect hetero. I don't know if heteronormative is the correct word. I've heard a bunch of times, but I don't like how it has normal in it. We don't
You
want to do
say
that. So
cishet?
yeah,
Cishet?
Yeah,
cishet.
sis.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So your cishet people, And those in any other intersection, like there's multiple different ones. So you know they face the same oppression from the same oppressor, different ways, but we can't bring the labels with us, and that is where I the ones that have the nuance to speak on these topics understand that and can still sound like they're perpetuating the patriarchy. And so I'm trying to hopefully make this a unifying platform where someone can relay that message with more nuance, but at the same time, it attracts people that haven't done the work to land there, and I'm hoping we can unpack some of that mayonnaise too, because it's mayonnaise at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
yeah. I
It's
agree with you
mayonnaise,
because it's like when
you
you
know.
speak on these conversations and you talk to different people, the diverse range of opinion, but rarely do you find someone who truly understands and connects that because most people will, I'm not going to say they pick a side, but it's like almost again the argument I'll use what again the black biracial or mixed. They'll say, well, this group treated me like this and this group treated me like this, and it's steeped in anti-blackness, right? And so they will retreat into another thing, and it feels like they disregard that part and try to defend just that thing. And I'm not trying to say anybody certainly does that on purpose or don't understand, but I see a lot more LGBTQIA plus rallies than I saw for Black Lives Matter, or I see for Free Congo, or I see for Free Liberia, or I see for
Mm-hmm.
free colonization. And I
Mm-hmm.
wonder, I'm not saying that, it's the totality is bad, but do people ever look around and guess the population of the people that are standing beside them? Because
Mm.
I would say I see way more white tea people in those rallies than any other, and I'm not trying to separate us or anything or blame. It's just, it's again a very nuanced topic and it's way deeper to understand why it is so. But again, like you said, it's dripping in anti-blackness and it's drenched in indoctrination and racism. And it's
Yeah.
kind of sad because it's, how do you reach those people without stepping on their toes? How do you love them but
How do
still
you tell
inform
them?
them?
How do
Because
you
they think
tell
it's hate.
them?
They think it's hate.
How do you tell them Massa called you gay? How do you tell them Massa gave you the title lesbian? Massa told you that you was bisexual. Before that, you was just human and you was part of us. How do you tell them that? How do you, while still also addressing the need to dismantle patriarchy that oppressed them based on that intersection? You see what I'm saying? That's the
Yeah,
nuance. It's
yeah.
how do you tell them these labels were given to you so you could see yourself as different from us? And even some of us have internalized these labels to call ourselves different from you. We have to put those labels aside and now come together against the common oppressor. And they're going to say, no, I identify my identity, my flag. Flags used to just be for nations. Now we got a flag for who you want to be with. Come on, that should let you know right there. Flags are for nations. They gave you a national identity on who you are attracted to or who love. That should let you know right there. It's a division tactic, but it's something that was given to us by our enemies, so it can be used against us. I
Yeah,
think
I
I
mean,
think
the
we got to
whole
work
life.
on it.
Like you said
Yeah.
even earlier too, like the emasculation, because you compared, you said if it was a, homosexual man or a heterosexual, who would they respect less as a black man? And it's just sad that the reality of the tools they believe with traditional roles, gender norms, and identity, they're gonna say all day that it would be easier to deal with that homosexual man,
Yeah.
despite what it would be, because they have emasculated you beyond the point of understanding a true identity of solidarity with one another, no
Hmm.
matter what you
Hmm.
may like or you don't like. Like,
Yeah.
because I mean, to people to think that there wasn't a diverse range of us having different things going on everywhere on that continent would be insane. But the fact
They
that they
got
can't
statues.
they can't conceptualize that though. Think about it. They
Yeah.
can't, which is why they still further themselves into division.
Little
Like it's
boys.
just yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing too, right? The demasculating or emasculating of a black man. I think that has intersectionality in it because I know plenty of, gay or bisexual men that are very masculine. So it's the
True.
I feel like it's the idea, and that's why I say what I say. Like, if you black, let's go. I don't. we do harm within ourselves, and then we allow everybody else to kind of pin us against each other, and that becomes a whole nother fight within our own community. It's so dangerous,
Yeah,
so dangerous. But I'm gonna shut
Yeah.
up.
That
absolutely.
is
We got
why
some more people up here.
that
I
is why
appreciate you,
Malcolm
Kay.
X, hold on, Malcolm X said, "Who teach us to hate ourselves?" Because Malcolm X know whose narrative are we playing with.
Mm-hmm.
So, Malcolm X is basically the foundations, one of the major foundation for the black people, because he knows that the black people will take on all different narratives. They will all place in the hand of their enemy. He said, "Who teach you to hate your hair? Who teach you to hate your skin? Who teach you? And why do you think your enemy is going to teach you? Why do you think your enemy is going to give you the tool that you need?" You see,
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm X knows that there is apartheid in the
Mm-hmm.
entire world
Mm-hmm.
against black people. So if we know we are fighting apartheid wherever we are,
Mm-hmm.
then
Absolutely.
yeah. So
That's what there. That's why. I'm not sure where you from, but where you from, family?
well, I'm original from Jamaica, but if you're from Jamaica,
Okay,
you
yeah, I heard it on. I heard it on you. I didn't want to assume, but that's why I like the idea. I don't know how you feel about the Rastafari, but they have a concept, the I and I. So we are all one. That means that we're getting rid of division between ourselves. So that's another concept as well. It's like these labels and how you choose to identify given to you by your oppressor. Like you said, they're going to be tools used against us. So at some point we all have to unify. It's just going to be harder for some than others.
you know uh, between Neely Fuller and
Mm,
Francis Cresswell, they have actually they know. You see, with and even Baba who give the herb, he said, not until we understand that the prison, the hospital, the school, and everything that we operate in, which does not speak to us, those are all
mm,
the apartheid structure, and we have to, we have to tell the guy name. I can't remember his name right now. He talk about we have
mm,
to align ourselves with the economic structure
mm,
in order to. So we need to get back land. We need to organize ourselves. The most important thing for the black race is land and their wealth.
mm.
No,
Absolutely.
we don't care about no other narrative that they say we should be what. Malcolm X
Mm,
said he already give us the word and give us what we need to live by. So if we're following Malcolm X and stop the hate, that's all he said. Who
mm,
teaches to hate? So the first thing should go from the black race is hate.
mm, mm. All right. Yep. Absolutely. And shout out to the ancestor, brother Malik, El Haj El Shabazz, Malcolm X, who wrote the Organization of Afro American Unity speech. If y'all want to check that out, I would encourage all Pan Africans to check out the OAAU speech by Malcolm X. You can find it on YouTube. Appreciate you enlightening us, sister. Let me
Hey,
go to
I,
the
I was gonna drop though. I was
yeah.
gonna say thank you for having me up. You know,
Hmm.
I'm always in here for the. I love to get into the topics like that because it's like really talking about it. You got to know and understand what you're talking about because you wouldn't know, right? And even
Yeah.
the people that some people are complicit in not knowing. They don't never want to know. In the
Right.
wise words of Outkast, y'all don't want to hear me. Y'all just want to dance. You know what I'm saying? Like, But appreciate you for having me up. I
Yes.
always come spin the block again, so don't even worry
Absolutely.
about it. Y'all have a great
Yes.
night
Much
though.
love to you, sister. Appreciate you.
Yeah, peace. Yeah, peace.
Let me go to Lauren. You've been up here for a while. Lauren, you want to give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
Yeah, how old am I? 35. I'm white and a she. I feel really uncomfortable though saying what my
Speak
race
up.
is because can you hear me?
Uh,
Can you hear me?
barely. You sound a little muffled. Maybe you got like some headphones or something. Don't forget to tap like, y'all. We're trying to get to 150, 150K.
Is that better?
That's better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lauren, 35, I'm white. I feel really uncomfortable saying that though. I don't know whether this is an okay space for me to speak in, and I'm happy not to if that's preferred. I don't mind.
It's okay space for you to speak. Just don't be afraid of some pushback. We all are up here talking in we all
Yeah.
get pushback at certain things. Now, one thing that I think European descendants don't understand African American and Black culture worldwide is that we use conflict as a way to sharpen our tools and learn more about, um, where our stance should be by each other. We use conflict and debate as a way to come to an understanding. Europeans
Yeah.
only think of conflict in terms of violence. So when we push back and give you a debate, that doesn't mean that we feel any type of way towards you. It just means that we're sharpening your tools.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's good. Because thanks for having me. I found this just really interesting to listen in on. Because I don't want to be one of them ignorant people. Because I know there's uh there's centuries of just like hurt and pain, and it's still perpetuated. And I just want to learn really. So it was more of a question for you. Like, I wanted to know what you thought, Brother Legend. Like, can white people be pro-black? And if so,
Oh shit.
how can we do that?
Missed it.
Somebody's loud. Hold on. Please mute when you come up. Please mute when you come up. The answer to that short is no. Um, that's like asking if, I don't know, a pig can fly, or maybe, I don't know. I guess a pig would enjoy bacon, but I don't know. That's not possible. No.
Okay. And why is that? Just so I can understand better.
Because pro-blackness is prioritizing one's actions and values with what's in the best interest of building the Black community. And you can't build the Black community with the people that tore it down.
Okay. Because obviously a lot of what's happened is historical, but moving forwards, because we're not.
Do you need? Because I can give you present day.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So Google Rasheem Carter.
Yeah.
And that's a black
Rasheem
man.
Carter.
That Rasheem Carter. He went to he was a black man that went to a sundown town on a job for his job, and he showed up. Well, he didn't even show up. He texted his mom and said, if I'm unalived, this is who did it. And he's in a Whyte town, and they unalived him, and his body parts are still being found. That's 2023. There's also a case where 5 police officers just got convicted of raping 2 black men because they had association with a white woman. So that's 2023. We can talk about Louisiana, Texas. A young black boy, I said Louisiana, Texas, Louisiana. A young black boy, 15 years old, went out having fun with his YT best friend, I guess. And he was unalived and his body found out worse than Emmett Till's in a sugarcane field.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to say more? Still happening to our kids. Still happening to us. It ain't stopped.
Oh God, no, sorry, D. Oh Jesus, I didn't mean like as in it's not a problem today. It's clearly there's a problem today, clearly, but I just mean like moving forward, because obviously historically and today, it's there's been the oppression, and moving forward, like how can I'm just one woman, like, but as like I guess I'm part of a community. I didn't even think of it like that because I don't have to. But yeah,
Y'all need to go have meetings with your governors, your policymakers, all those people in power that sign bills and make laws. That's who you need to go and have meetings and lives with. That's what you can do. You can
yeah,
educate yourself, catch up on history, read some books. Brother Legend gives great recommendations on books. But I find it very problematic when you guys come up here. There's 3 questions here, but you decide you want to ask some questions. I think that's really problematic, and you need to do some self-reflection on that. But seriously, and you're nice, okay? You really, really need to understand how, even though there aren't any literal chains, there are a lot of mental and emotional chains that are still strong and connected to all of us.
yeah, yeah. Well, I respect that. I respect your feedback.
All right, that's quite a word. I would say crazy black librarian gave the best answer. Um, you definitely want to focus on anti-racism. Trying to be pro-black is equivalent to, I have a metaphor for this. I have a metaphor sometimes for things. All right, so you walk out your front door, and do you know who Freddy Krueger is, Lauren?
Yeah.
All right, so you walk out your front door, you see Freddy Krueger chasing a woman down the street. You see her running. Oh my God, help! And you see red stuff all over her shirt. You know what I'm saying? Liquid, red stuff all over her shirt. She's running and she's trying to get away from Freddy. You see Freddy, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you. You walk out your door, you just see this, you're like, oh my goodness. You want to help the woman. What do? Do you run? Do you go and get your pow, click clack pow, and go handle Freddy? Or do you run next to her and say, hey, what can I do to help you? Where are we running? I can help you run there. Which one will help her more?
Running with her.
I'm sorry?
Oh, what? Oh, sorry. No, I lost you a bit there.
Yeah, all right. Well, I think they got it down in the comments. Go and get the click clack pow and handle Freddy. That makes you an anti-racist. Don't run next to us trying to be pro-black. We don't need to bring anyone that could be harmful to our community.
Okay, thanks for letting me in.
Mm-hmm. All right. Who we got next? I think it's me. Could you give us your age, race, and pronouns? Y'all got the attention spans of a fly these days. It's crazy.
Yes. My name is Claudia. I'm 54.
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped Tia. Go ahead.
Oh,
Age, race, and pronouns, Claudia.
yes. She, her, 54, and my name is Claudia.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to come back to you.
Okay.
And
Okay. She can go.
okay, it's okay. All right. And what's your race, Claudia?
White. White.
All right. Go ahead. Talk to us.
Yes. So, can white people be pro-black? I think some, yes. And the way I think they can do that is educating themselves, reading books, researching. If you see something happening that is not okay, you speak up, you say something, which I do, because that's just the way I am. I've seen things at my job, I've seen things in Walmart, Kroger, whatever, wherever, and I speak up. If I see something wrong, I speak up, and I really don't care. That's what I
That's
do.
not pro-black.
Okay. Can you please tell me what it is?
Prioritizing one's actions and values with what's in the best interest of building the black community.
Can I ask a question? Is that okay?
Go ahead, Tia.
I just would like to know why y'all would like to be pro-black. I'm genuinely curious at this point.
That's a good question.
Do you have a good answer?
Um, well, because I like black people. That's just I do. I'm drawn to the music. I'm drawn to the whole culture, the learning of it. I'm really drawn to it. And also, I don't want to tokenize. I'm not going to,
Don't
but
do it. Don't
right.
do it.
That's right. That's right. I'm not going to. I'm not going to.
Okay. All right.
No, 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 no. I learned that. That's a no, no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning. I'm reading books. I'm learning. Right here in my bed, I got Stamped. I got So You Want to Talk About Race. I got How to Be an Anti-Racist. I'm learning. I'm reading. Halfway done with Stamped. Then I'll go on to the next, and I'll get more when I'm done with that.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
that's that.
Um,
That's what I'm doing.
what do you like about black people?
Everything.
Hmm.
Wait a minute, I don't like everything about black people.
I just do.
People.
I think I don't know. Just the culture, the attitude. I just like everything. I just do. So
What's the
About
black
white people.
attitude? I'm curious as to what the black attitude
very
is.
strong, and I respect and look up to that. I think black people, black women are very strong. Um,
That's a
like,
racial trope.
okay, sorry, didn't know that.
I
Sorry.
think black women are very feminine, very soft, very adorable
You know
women.
what we are? We're
Uh-huh.
determined, we're focused,
Ex-
we're educated, we're well to do, we're
Yes.
forward pushers, we're movers, and we're thinkers. We also are people that don't rely on just this idea of strength because we literally have constantly had to carry a weight that it was kind of brought on by your community. But I think in this dynamic, in this conversation, it's always interesting that there's not a particular thing that you like. What you're doing is you're overcompensating for yourself. And the best thing to do is just say, I have a black husband or I have a black something, and I met that person and give the characteristics of that person you like. Because I got plenty of black family and plenty of black friends, and I don't like everything they do.
I just
I
didn't want
don't.
to tokenize. I just didn't want to tokenize.
No,
I
well, that
learned.
would be tokenizing. She's being facetious to some
Okay,
degree.
okay, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I'm learning. Usually I'm going to tell you what, I get kicked out of these. Usually I get kicked out. Yeah, I usually get kicked out. Man, they're hard on me. Hard.
mhm.
And I get it. It's okay. I'm learning. Be hard on me. That's okay. I'll learn. I'm learning. I don't take it personal anymore. I try to understand and see, you know, the whole thing, the whole picture, all of it, and understand it.
Question: is your family racist?
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. My
Uh,
dad is very racist.
don't you think it was harmful to put your husband in proximity to your father? It's extremely
Um,
harmful. You don't think so?
oh, my husband's white.
Oh, your husband. Oh, so who are you tokenizing? Who's black?
I have two stepsons that are, okay, so help me with this, please.
Uh-huh.
Now, do we say biracial? Do we say,
They
you
have a
know,
black mom.
yes, ma'am. Yes.
There you go.
Yes. Yes, they do.
That means they black. Are they white?
They're black.
They
They're
black.
black. Yep. They're black.
She didn't want to say biracial.
So I don't know what to say
So,
though, because I've
do,
heard sometimes that's not the correct thing to say.
so do your stepson, are they around your father?
No, my father passed when I was 18 years old.
Oh.
Hmm. No, they never met him. I'm 54. My dad died when I was 20, so no. Mm-mm. No, I live in Kentucky now, and
Are you racist?
I used to think I wasn't, because I used to think, well, I do this, I do that, I have this, I have that. I'm not racist. I'm not racist. I'm not racist. Well, when you stop and look and think, I'm like, shit. You know what? That's a little bit racist, Claudia.
Wait, so are you racist?
I don't. I want to say no,
She's scared to say.
But
but but I have a lot more to learn to say that I'm not racist. I,
okay,
I do. I'm
okay.
gonna be
Okay,
honest.
so
Now that's
Claudia,
honesty.
it's okay to say I'm a racist, but I'm learning to be anti-racist. See,
There you
that's a
go.
really good thing to say it like that than trying to avoid and, tap dance around what we all know, but you don't want
Right.
to accept.
Yeah, I'm learning. And usually,
Well,
like I said, I get kicked out. They kick me out every time. I don't know. I go into a lot of these, you guys, because it's really, I'm into it. Like I'm into it. I told my husband, I'm like, after my chemo, I'm like, we got to go to a bookstore. He's like, for what? And I said, I got to get these books. I got to get these books. He said, what are you doing? I said, I watch debates and I listen and, I'm learning and I'm like, I'm into it. Like, I want to make a difference. I want to make a change. I want to try to do something. Something has to, it has to, something has to be done. We all got to stand up. White, black, Asian, I don't give a shit. Everybody stand up. You know what I mean? We can all fight that. All of us. All of
mm,
us.
So you should probably look into doing like your own lives and maybe even doing some book chats with other white people with the books that you do read. That might be
Okay.
a good thing for you to venture into. That way you don't get kicked out of lives. See what I'm saying? You have your own life. You can say whatever you want to. You can talk to other white people about racism,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
Yeah.
get to it. Get to it, Claudia.
Yeah, I definitely will. I'm interested. I'm into it. Like, it just interests me, and that's just it's time. It's just time. It's time to put this bull crap. Just it's time. You know,
mm-hmm.
it really is. I've been married to my husband for 12 years, and when we got married, can I say this? I don't want to tokenize.
Then don't tokenize.
Okay, never mind then.
See, that's
I
where that
mean, yeah.
education. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm
Let's stay
sorry.
away from personal anecdotes. I mean, you keep doing
Okay.
that. So if you don't want to tokenize, then stay on the topics. We're
I
talking
know.
about feminism. We're talking about being
Okay.
pro-black. The first answer to the question. First question is absolutely not. No way in hell, and no, just straight up no.
No.
Ain't no way. You can be an anti-racist, but many black people have a hard time being pro-black. We are not going to believe that you are going to go from racist to pro-black in this lifetime, in this condition of this environment we're in. I'm sorry, it's not possible. And even if it was possible, it would just do more harm than good because you should probably just be with your people fighting against the oppressive nature of racism than to come around us and try to build a community that you're inherently taught to tear down. So it's like, what's the
Mhm.
point? Does feminism benefit the black community?
Um,
Actually, I'm good. You answered enough. I'll go to the next guest. Thank you for coming up. I'm not going to kick you down, but we do have
yes.
to go to the next guest.
Okay,
We
cool.
spent a
Thank
lot
you.
of time.
Thank you for having me. I'll have a good night.
All right.
I'll be back.
Yep. All right. So next guest, Tech Talk. I was about to ask her the other questions, but I don't want to hear her opinions on that. Tech Talk, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
Yeah, I'm 25. My name is Tech, and it's he, him, and I'm black.
All right. Talk to us.
Real quick, did Tia need to go first, or?
Oh, my bad, Tia, man.
No,
I'm
go
so
ahead.
I'm so used to thinking you a host now
Oh,
because you've been up here a
it's
few
fine.
many times.
Let
Tia
Talk
go
to us.
last. So
I'm
she's
not
like
talking.
dessert. She's gonna put the cherry on top of everything.
I'm sick of you, D.
It's okay. I'm chilling.
All right, sister. Appreciate you. Tech talk. Give us a. Oh, you did. Talk to us, family.
Yeah, so for that first question, are we assuming that anybody other than black can be pro-black?
That's
Are
a
you asking me?
Yeah, because like I mean I get the question, right? But like the way it's worded makes it seem like people other than black people can be pro-black. And the reason why I say that is because I'm kind of on that side. If you sit and watch it happen, you're just as guilty. And from what I recall, a whole lot of people sat and watched it happen.
Yeah, I'm on that side. With you. I would even say people that participate. So I would say they're all participants. So I would say pro-black. Honestly, it don't even got nothing to do with that oppression though. It's just building a black community. Like if
I
I'm gonna
mean,
build
that
a
should
brick
just be
house, how I'm gonna build a brick house with wood. Like how I'm gonna build a brick house with anything but bricks. Like the black community can only be built by black people. Like otherwise, it's not a black community. It's a something else community. So
right. So I guess I'm trying to say that, I mean, honestly, being pro-black is just being black, and that's why nobody else can be pro-black because they ain't black.
yeah.
You can be anti-black, and we got a lot of that going around. But
Mm-hmm.
so my answer to that first question is no, because
Mm-hmm.
ain't nobody about to be pro-black other than black people.
I heard that.
To the second question is kind of what I was wanting to get on because whenever it talks like I was, I've been in the live for a while, and I was there for the whole LGBTQIA plus conversation as well. And I got a little bit of pushback on it, and I understand like pretty much the labeling is an issue for the black community. But I will say some of these movements that have been started, like they had a purpose for why they were started, and the most important thing in my opinion was to call attention to, right? Like it
Mm-hmm.
was something that was being ignored that needed to be acknowledged. Now where they went after that is a different story. But at least whenever we start talking about like feminism, well, we notice there's a problem with men and definitely with black men, not supporting the community like the way they were supposed to. Because one thing I'll say about black women is, they been 10 toes down, right? But I feel like black men fell off on that. So whenever that happens, you need something to call attention to it,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that was kind of a causation correlation with that one. Just, something had to happen for people to start waking up to it and paying attention to it. So now, does it benefit the black community? I feel like anybody could give you a different answer to that. I feel like it shouldn't be something that's necessary for the black community to thrive. So it should have never been an issue in the first place.
It should have never
So I
been an
mean,
issue in the first place. You mean for black people or for everybody?
I think he means to, if you don't mind, he means to say it shouldn't have been necessary. Is that accurate, Ted?
For the black
yeah,
community?
Yeah.
yeah,
Like it should never have
especially
been
for the black
necessary.
community because of where we,
Okay.
because of our history compared. I mean, because for
Are you talking about
quite a
our
few
history
people,
going back to pre-colonization?
correct.
Okay. Yeah, I wish that were the case, but we were colonized. And when our ancestors, and this is from Bell Hooks, I'm struggling to find this clip. If anyone knows which lecture it was that Bell Hooks gave, please let me know. But she says, I thought it was in the interview with the brother that wrote that book about Tupac. But anyway, she says that when our ancestors walked off the plantation, they didn't have history of their culture, their customs, or their family structure from the continent of Africa anymore. That was hundreds of years behind them. And the only family structures that they were able to, mimic were what they had seen with their master. And so they loved their women the way their master, I'm talking about black men, they loved their women the way their master treated their women, or the way master treated their women. You know what I'm saying? Black women. They loved children the way the master treated their children, because they had no other example to go off of, given how their history was taken from them. So, and this also plays into why corporal punishment, spanking your child, is also rooted in colonization.
Yeah, big facts. I agree with you 100% on that. And as I'm not definitely not trying to give a pass for that one. One thing I will say though is that we are in a point in time where we do need to start educating ourselves properly,
Yeah,
and being able to call that stuff out, kind of like what you're doing here. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
being able to listen and take in new information and not stay having that colonizer mindset, because just like most black people, I was part of that too. And
me
my
too. I
family,
hear you.
yeah, my family did not teach me anything about anything. So whenever it hit me, it kind of hit me like a truck, and I was like, whoa.
Me too.
So I had to start doing my own research. So whenever other people talk about they're not racist or anti-black, I'm like, you're not about to sit here and tell me, a black man, that you're not anti-black if I'm anti-black. Like you
Right.
ain't about to do
That's what.
that.
That's how I do this show, bro. That's literally how I do this show. Like when people come up here and they tell me they not racist and tell me that, I'm like, listen, I did all this reading, all this lecture, and I still catch myself saying some dumb shit in my head. Like I still catch myself using the term mf'er. Mf'er refers to when they would have our children grape their mother to produce more slaves. Like it's still all this other stuff. Like even how I speak with my wife. I'm like, bro, there's so much to unpack. Patriarchy that was taught to me, internalized anti-blackness. It gets crazy. So it's like one day at a time, brother. That's all we
Right.
can do, y'all.
Yeah. So yeah, as I said,
Yeah.
that's definitely how I feel about that one, because
Yeah.
as I said, I know I got my own stuff that I got to unpack, and I know a lot of other people do too. And it's still within our own black community, we're still trying to like really define these lines that we're trying to build around our community with too. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's really important that we listen to each other, like whenever we start talking about stuff. And that's kind of going to bring me into this last one about the LGBT movement and stuff like that, is defining those. Like, in my opinion, like if you're not supporting everything black, then you're anti-black. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
if you're not willing to sit here and like educate others and change your ways a little bit to be more accepting, definitely when your ways are colonizer ways, right? Like if you're not
Mm-hmm.
willing to change that to accept other black folk into the black community, like that's absolutely wild, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's something like me personally, like as soon as I hear you say anything to put down another black person, regardless, you know what I'm saying? Like that automatically makes me see you as somebody that's not really trying to grow the black community to what it should be, as far as,
Mm-hmm.
accepting all of our black brothers and sisters. So I really encourage people to, like, one, listen to other people. You gotta listen to your brothers and sisters whenever they're trying to tell you stuff and trying to explain things to you. I'm not saying that you gotta sit here and say that they're right all the time, but listen, do your research on it, you know what I'm saying, before you start just sitting here telling them, no, that's not right, that's not the way. Make sure you're not
Mm-hmm.
wrong in what you're saying, and I said, like, keep
Yeah,
growing.
absolutely. Yeah, man. That's a word, man. I appreciate you bringing that up, man. My go-to hero is Malcolm X. He was constantly in a state of self-reflection, and that's what it's all about. Is you know, we may never be these perfect mosaic prophet Abrahamic religion. Abrahamic religion teaches us a man needs to be without spot or blemish in order to be righteous. But hey, all you got to do is, if you have the critical thinking, just keep being aware of yourself every day. It's a practice, spiritual practice. Just keep being aware of yourself. Um, so I appreciate you bringing that to the live, man. That's definitely what I want to talk about with black masculinity.
Okay.
Um, yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for having me up, man. I appreciate it, and I'll be listening in.
Yes, sir. One love. Yeah, we want to talk about redefining Black masculinity. I'm getting close to doing that prompt. Just want to do it in a way that's not going to bring the gender war up in here. I really just want to do it in a way that I get only Black men to come up here, to be honest. I don't want any of the sisters to come up here and try to labor explaining to these dudes. But I feel like it's going to really end up just me arguing with other Black men. And that's when I'm like, dang, maybe I should just have no guests and just talk to y'all. So that's what my brain keeps doing.
You could do it when
It's
you have
like,
one other brother that you know would be just as well rounded.
no.
Oh wow.
I think
No.
I think it's one of them things like how therapists say, like, you have to go through it to get to the other side. And
Yeah.
like we always talk about, like, everybody can't come. Like, some of the men gonna get left behind, but I think you'll be able to reach some because they damn sure ain't listening to us. And if
Yeah.
anything that I've seen from some of these spaces, we gonna hear a lot of wigs, weaves, and lashes. And
Yeah.
you gotta go through it.
You're destroying our community because of your wigs and your weave, and you always putting them damn lashes
That's
on. I'm
crazy.
sick of it. That's just tearing our community apart. It's
It
your
is.
fault.
It is
And the
gonna be.
makeup. Don't forget the makeup, Tia.
And the makeup. It
Mhm.
is going to be, I think the most fascinating, it's really a fascinating exercise, but
Yeah.
the most fascinating thing to me is the fact that when you really like pose those questions and you force people to stick to the question as it was asked, a lot of times these dudes don't have an answer. They can't come
Yeah.
up with nothing. And it's
Mm-hmm.
fascinating to me. And I think only another Black man could take that further. Like, you
Yeah.
know, like, okay, you don't have an answer. Like, where do we go from here? I would love
Right.
to see it. I'm gonna be in the goo. Like, I'm
Yeah. It's hard because when you understand how patriarchy works, especially within Black men, um, um, it benefits you to be, I don't know how else to say this, anti-intellectual. That's the best way I can say it with the most syllables, so as not to sound offensive. Anti-intellectualism puts you closer to the top of patriarchal hierarchy. It puts you closer to the top. Me being up here using big words, trying to get brothers to think critically, is going to make me sound like a bitch to them. So it takes me down a rung. And so that's what upsets me now, because now I get aggravated, right? In my patriarchal, you know, now I feel like I'm being questioned, and I know that what I'm trying to spread is love and unity. However, it's not being accepted because I now don't fit into the patriarchal order correctly. So then that's why that's the thing. That's where it becomes hard. It's like I would have to find men that read to come up here, and we could have a discussion with men that read, but then we'd all be sitting here saying, "Yep, mm-hmm, yep, mm-hmm."
Try it out.
The scariest guy in jail is the one that's not reading. The scariest guy in jail is the idiot. And that's how patriarchy runs. Is whoever everyone is the most scared of wins. And Dr. Francis Cress Welsing says this as well. One thing Black people are scared to admit is that we are afraid of white people. I know that sounds crazy. I know it might hit your ego wrong, but the reality is they are a threat to us, and that is why we have to survive them so much. So the white T man is the number one threat to brothers. That is why patriarchy doesn't work in our favor, because the man everybody's afraid of is the man that not he doesn't have a trigger, he has a button he can push. So yeah.
Look at the way
All right.
employment works and the way that money works.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Money is definitely how they weaponize that fear as well. But I'll go to the next guest. Annabelle, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Hello, thank you. So my age, I'm 21. I'm Annabelle. She, her.
Race.
I'm white,
All
and
right.
I
That's it.
just want to agree with you, like, with earlier with what you were saying. with the question, can white people be pro-black? And I say no, because like, that should be a black thing. That should be all them, but at the same time, you should be not only educating yourself, but not, I guess, at the same time, it's kind of hard to explain, because I lost my train of thought.
All right. Okay. Thanks for coming up.
Okay.
Hey yo, that tell me that movie Napoleon Dynamite is not like a documentary. I'm telling you. That if you need a clear like look into the community of your oppressor, watch Napoleon Dynamite. That's really how they are. Like,
Straight goofy.
I don't know what that is. Game God, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Yo, what's going on? Yeah, thanks for having me. My age, I'm 43. Race, I'm an indigenous American, aka black. And pronouns,
Wait, hold on. Oh man, you just bust my brain
To
open. So you're
unmute
indigenous,
myself.
but you're black.
yeah, you ain't gonna always understand or agree with what I say, cause I think for myself. I don't let everybody else think for me. I believe that black people was already over here before. What they call the Indians is something that they made up. So that's my belief. So I say I'm indigenous. I was already here before, all the Christopher Columbuses and all that type of stuff. And the
All
and
right.
the
So
the Indians that they made up.
okay. So
But,
what proof do you have of that?
it's a whole theory. It'll take a while to explain, but I'd rather I mean I can explain it, but I'd rather answer these questions that's up here.
I'd rather I mean,
If that's cool with y'all. I mean,
How you gonna
you
explain
want
this
you want me to explain it?
when you confused already? Let me shut up.
Who confused?
I'm confused
Who
because
is confused?
you said you was black and
And
indigenous.
no, brother, you said how he
So
said it. He said he native and something of black. So he kind of put black to the back.
I said indigenous black.
That ain't what you said.
okay, so you grew up on a reservation?
Nah. I mean, I pretty much explained that part okay, so indigenous means that we are of this land, right?
All right, so where's our monuments?
You said where's our monuments?
Yeah, like you saying we was here before Columbus, so that's like that's how long were we here before Columbus? Like right before Columbus, or like thousands of years
Nah,
before?
we've been here the whole time. Black
All
people,
right,
listen.
so
If okay, so y'all do.
we've been
So
here the whole
listen.
time, right? And we built like the pyramids. We did the metal work of the Nok people in West Africa. You know, emperors like Mansa Musa, and we did all this great. We left all this art wherever we went. Why don't we see it here anywhere?
So if you look at history, monuments and sculptures and everything that we've been tied into that's great has always been tampered with. So I mean that's a question you should probably be able to answer yourself. They destroy a lot of the stuff that we build and then rename it if they leave it here. You see what I'm saying? So I mean that's been happening all over the globe.
So
Am I wrong?
they decided to rename it in America, but didn't do that in Africa.
They do a lot in Africa that people don't pay attention to. Africa is being colonized just as well as America. Has it not?
So, I mean, my thing is, Marcus Garvey said, a people without knowledge of their history and culture is like a tree without roots. A tree without roots cannot survive. When people have
Let
been
me ask you
when
this.
people have been robbed of their roots, they try to plant their roots in other land that's not the land they come from. Do you believe that 12 to 20 million African people were kidnapped and brought to this land?
I don't believe the way they say the slave trade happened. I don't believe it.
Who's
It
they?
don't make sense to me.
Who's
The
they?
people the same people who've been teaching me and you and everybody else on this panel
Oh no,
through
those people
school.
didn't teach me. I'm sorry, you on the wrong live. You think I'm letting them people teach me? I'm
You didn't
talking
go to
about
school?
I'm talking about the
You didn't go to
Africans that were. I'm
elementary
talking about
school?
the Africans who still, live in the communities where this happened. They say that it was 20 million of our ancestors brought across the African Ocean. I'm sorry, the Atlantic Ocean from Africa. So I'm not listening to
How do
to
they
the
know?
Europeans. I'm listening to
What
them.
proof do they have?
There's plenty of proof. There's plenty of proof. The fact that that my father was raised on a plantation picking cotton, speaking the same way with the same accents that people speak in Africa when they learn English. Um, there's no plural form of is in any African language, especially in West Africa. There's no plural form of is. So the plural
You
form of
speak
is
Swahili?
Swahili. No, I don't speak Swahili, but the plural form of is
Okay. My
are.
pop speaks
So
Swahili though.
they
You know
don't
what I'm saying?
say.
So I'm not ignorant. And that's the
All right,
general
so you
language
know
of
that
Africa is
there's no
Swahili.
form, there's no R in in an African language in West Africa, right? So that being the
If
case,
you don't
we
speak
say,
if
what
you don't
is
speak
you? What is
Swahili,
you
how do you know
doing?
what
Things like that. We don't say, what are you doing? That's just a small part. The habitual be is another one. These are things that are linguistic markers to say that we're from Africa.
It went out.
Not from the
Oh no,
Americas,
pause.
where they don't do these things. They don't speak these ways. We have words for things that Native Americans don't have, and we still talk this way today. So, language is a good way to trace people when there's not much evidence. That's how we also know that the ancient Kemites went down into Central Africa after Egypt had fallen to the Greeks. This is how we know that the the spiritual deity Ogun is also the same as the Cuban deity Ogun by the same name. This is how people trace migrations. So what I'm trying to say is, why don't Native Americans then have these same cultural markers as Africans?
I mean, I don't know. I really ain't gonna go back and forth with you about your opinion. You got the right to your opinion. I got the right to mine. You see what I'm saying? And I don't really argue too much about what people believe in history that they can't prove. None of the stuff that you telling me right now you can really prove for real. You just told me that Africans don't have certain words in their language, and then you told me that you don't speak Swahili. So how can you tell me what Africans word structure is in their languages? You don't even speak Swahili. Swahili is the general language of Africa because they got
No, it's not.
thousands of languages
It's
in
not though.
Africa.
Arab is.
Yes, it is.
Arab
What's
is.
the general language of
Arab is the
Africa?
most spoken language in Africa.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Swahili is I'm saying no, hear me out. I'm saying the general language amongst Africans is Swahili. I'm not saying you know what like English. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about an African language. An African language that's the general language amongst Africans is Swahili, because they have thousands of languages in Africa. So Swahili is the main one.
Sir, please mute your mic.
That's not
That
that's
is
not right though.
facts.
No, I'm African. That's not true.
Yeah, all right.
Like
I'm
Swahili
not
is.
gonna argue. I ain't gonna argue with y'all about it. Do
I'm
your
from I'm
research.
from I'm from the place where they speak like
Africa,
I'm
what
from.
is you talking about?
That's what's up. I mean, what do that mean
I
for
know.
me? My dad just came back from Africa yesterday.
And that's cool. Like, and I'm happy that your dad did that. But like it's spoken in like Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, in 3 countries. Swahili is not close, not even close to being the most spoken language in Africa.
I didn't say it was the most spoken language in Africa. I'm saying it's the general language among. If you take a language that so you telling me that Africans don't have hundreds of languages?
Yeah, we do, but there's no base
Okay,
for
so
us to.
so what?
Yeah,
So 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 you telling me that Swahili is not the language that is divided amongst most of the people?
Swahili is spoken mostly in East Africa only.
Yeah.
It's not even spoken in West Africa.
All
It's
right,
not
I ain't
spoken in
gonna argue
Southern
with
Africa.
y'all.
What? Okay. It's
I
just
ain't gonna
not.
argue with y'all. I
He's
didn't
not
even
arguing
come
with
on the
you. He's
debate with
educating you. He's
I
educating you
come.
from somewhere
I'm
that
saying
he's from. What do you
I'm
mean?
from I'm South Sudanese myself. Like we speak our native language, and the country underneath us, right? Like Kenya, that borders us, they speak Swahili. Uganda speaks Swahili a little bit, and mostly people from Tanzania. It's mostly English that we speak and Arabic to communicate with other tribes because there's so many languages in Africa. So Swahili is spoken still, but it's not what you say it
So
is.
is English a African language?
It's not
No,
an
it's
African
not.
language, but
Is Arabic an African
if
language?
okay,
Exact.
if
So y'all not even listening to what I'm saying. The girl talking about you educating me. I'm educating y'all, but y'all don't want to hear it for real. I said Swahili is the most
Let me ask you this: if you're educating us,
general. Hold
how
on. I
how do
said
you how
Swahili
have you?
is the.
No. See, you want to educate, so I want to ask a question: how are you indigenous, and how did you prove that you're indigenous?
I just told you how I'm indigenous, and
How?
I don't have to prove it.
You said based on theory.
I
You
mean,
didn't
if
say
you don't
anything
have a
about
under,
actual factual information that would make you an indigenous person. So did you redeem any of those benefits from being indigenous in this country?
I'm not the type to go try to redeem
So what's
benefits.
the
I don't
point of
look for
saying that you're
food stamps or
indigenous
none of that
then?
type of stuff. I don't
What's the
need that.
benefit? What's the benefit of being indigenous in this country? You're still treated just like me.
Who is? I'm treated
You
the way
are.
I demand to be treated. That's the
Okay.
difference between me and y'all.
What's the
I'm
difference
treated the way
between,
I
so
demand to
you
Difference
be
know
is
us
treated.
all
cognitive
personally.
dissonance.
What'd you say, brother?
Huh?
The difference is cognitive dissonance.
Can I just ask a quick
Some people
question?
don't want to
I'd
be
like to be
aware.
educated real quick by game. I saw
What's that?
some manifests that came from according to supposed, slave ships if they never came here. Where did those manifests, thousands of manifests with all these human cargo, where did those come from? Like, did they just make it up and bring over ships, or were those ships all fake too? Because they did find a ship over in, I believe, Virginia a couple years ago that was they thought was lost, but they found it. Was that fake too? I need explanations because I learned a totally different education than you.
That's cool. So if y'all really want to know, I'll explain something real simple, and then I'm gonna keep it moving because I'm not about to keep going back and forth about this. But if you have any understanding of history, you'll recognize that a lot of things that we have been taught has been lies for the purpose of manipulating us and keeping us in a slave mentality. So if y'all want to believe everything, hold on, I'm not done because somebody asked me a question. You gotta listen to understand.
I don't gotta listen
If
to you
y'all
at
want to
all because you
believe,
ain't teaching me
oh, you
nothing.
don't have to listen, but be quiet though, cause I wasn't
Okay,
talking
I'm gonna
over
be
you, and
quiet.
somebody just asked me a
I was
question. So
speaking
act
to
like you
the
got some sense.
moderator,
So
King,
act like
so
you
you
King,
got
we're
can
some
not going
quiet
to address
sense.
the
down.
queen in that way. We're not going to address the queen in that way, King.
Anyway,
That's one thing we're not going to do. No, I'm
you
serious. We're
know,
not going to do
so
that. Not to a queen. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
all right. So like I was saying,
They didn't send 3 calls. How many was before
you
that?
know, for the people who want to believe, I mean, I don't even know what the signals y'all throwing up and all that supposed to mean. I'm gonna let y'all talk for a minute, cause you know somebody asked me a question and somebody can't control their mouth. I'm trying to talk and explain,
Hey.
and you know,
So I'm the
Okay,
wrong
so
because you're right.
King,
I
this
can't
is the
control my
truth.
mouth.
This is the truth of the
Keep
matter. The problem
talking.
is that there are a large
You
amount
gonna
of
get
people of
your
African
fake
ancestry that want to
indigenous
disassociate them.
$5 having ass cussed out. Because at the end of the day, if you don't know what's going on, the room is being
who
ran.
is that talking? Who is
D
that?
is talking. D is talking.
What's up, D? You said
Yeah.
what?
My mouth is very much one that will run. So what's the issue?
All right, so I'm gonna answer these questions that's at the
Yeah,
top
go
because
do
that's what
that.
I came on here for. And I'm gonna start out with the second question: Does feminism benefit the black community? Hell no, it don't, because you get situations like this. You get women that feel like they don't have to respect a man and 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 feel like what they have to say is
Respect
more
one. So we're gonna
important
start
than what a
there.
man
It's
does,
a little
and they
weird
don't know how.
self.
They don't.
I'm
They,
black, but I'm not
shut up.
black. Yeah, you shut
I
up.
don't know what you are, and I don't
Grow
even
one.
care. I don't know
I
what
don't
you
care
are, and
what
I
you
don't care
know.
what you are.
I don't care what you are. Because you're not
I'm pretty
black, you're
sure
not
you broke as
indigenous.
hell and single.
Am I broke and I'm
I'm
not
pretty
single?
sure you
Am
What?
I? You
single
sure?
and broke.
Am I?
You don't
You
even know
sure?
her.
I don't care to
They
do no
try. Y'all be reaching for the
investigation, but I'm pretty
stars.
sure.
But
Are you married?
projection is one thing because you must be single
Hell
when you
no.
brought your fake Indian ass up here to center yourself in the middle of a conversation and you don't know if you're black or you're indigenous, but you got here by the theory of your thoughts and not actually any factual context. So yeah, bye, weirdo.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Hey man, shout out to the Cherokee Indians. The karaoke Indians.
Fake Indian, that's crazy. No, can I say this because I actually came up for the second point as well. Does
All right.
feminism
Give us your
benefit
age,
the
race,
black?
and pronouns, please.
Oh, my age rate. So black, just African black, or just black. I don't know. Yeah, just black. 29 and he
All right, talk to
pronouns.
me.
So the one with like does feminism benefit the black community? It would because one of the things that 'I'll relate it to where I'm from because I don't want to speak too much on you know African American community because I don't know, like I don't feel that I have too much right to speak on it, but um I know the whole idea of women being docile and not allowing to speak and just being quiet. That is not to be found in African culture originally. That's why I like the point that you brought up earlier. You brought up, I don't know, what the author you a woman's author you said, and you gave an example of her because that's to be found as well. Like like the within African culture, a woman having a say in either how do you call that, in either agriculture, business moves, or anything happens in the household and in the community, it's always been appreciated, always had a place in African culture. It was never anything strange at all. And may have shifted and culture, changed over the centuries, and maybe also because of European influences. But even where we're from, they have a saying, right? They say in my language, they say, uh, "Ran lang long a yetek." That means like a person who speaks righteousness, who speaks their mind, gets respect. Like that's and that goes in any gender, any man, woman. It doesn't matter at all. So this whole idea, I see a lot of men coming up, a lot of black men, African as well, talking about women should just follow and this and that. It's never been that way. It was always a partnership, and it was always listening to your spouse, what it is that they can bring, what you can bring, and that's how you like foster a relationship and foster the home. So this whole idea always of like women just have to be quiet. This has never been African culture. You look at it historically, it has never been African culture. So and so the people that descend from Africa, African Americans, Caribbeans, Black people in Central America, Black Latin Americans, that is the culture that they came from. Like like this whole, I don't know, like this must be a European. I don't know where it comes from, but it's not African.
Absolutely.
You know,
I heard that.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Okay. Well, thank you for that word. That is facts. I would still say feminism as a ideology and political movement. All right, ideologically, right? Feminism is, I believe it's women having equality to men.
Yeah,
However, in the society in which we live, black men are not considered men because of the same issue that feminism seeks to stand against, which is patriarchy.
yeah,
So, that being the case, do they want to be equal to black men? Or do you see what I'm saying? That's when it becomes problematic.
yeah.
I've never heard, I've never seen women marching in the streets saying they want equal treatment as black men. That being the case, feminism is not beneficial to the black community in that sense. But see, that's a way more nuanced way. So this is why I say the questions can go yes or no depending on the reason why. You gave a good example on how equality
Mm-hmm.
between black men and black women is part of
Yeah,
black culture, and that's definitely necessary. We have to dismantle patriarchy, a system that was not built for black men or black women to prosper, but to
yeah,
subjugate us. So yeah, absolutely, that was a great response, man.
yeah. Thank you.
Yes. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go to the next guest. Who we? Oh, Tia, you want to talk to us? You still chilling? It's up to you.
You say me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Oh, okay. My bad. I'm meal prepping. Um, I don't want to disappoint D, but I don't think I have much profound to say. I think what I had in mind was kind of along the lines of what the gentleman before me just said, at least in terms of that question. I think, you made a real good point about how feminism is contextualized. And I find oftentimes, at least when Black people are speaking about it, one, they're typically things that are being attributed to it that have absolutely nothing to do with feminism. It feels like when people are talking about pretty much anything they don't like about the Black community, they attribute to feminism, which is just strange to me. But then there's also like different aspects of it. Like there's the radical feminist, there's white feminism. Like they're not all the same thing. So it's like, what exactly are you talking about? Because I think if and when Black women are talking about, and I don't really even hear too many Black women talking about feminism explicitly, but if they're talking about equity amongst genders or equality amongst genders, I don't necessarily think it's anything that directly harms the community. If anything, it definitely benefits men, Black men. I'm talking about, not men in general. So these are not definitive thoughts. I should have prefaced my statement with that. These are thoughts that I'm still chewing on because I just hear a lot of like different things on all sides of the argument, some that make sense and some that don't make sense. I just don't really know where I settle with this. But I do think so. The other thing that I grapple with is like when you listen or read works of like the Angela Davises and other women of like that time, a lot of them talk about how they were kind of like one looked over, but also kind of like asked to take a step back because in the vein of if we rise, we all rise together type of thing. But that didn't quite happen. So like then there's also that I don't know whose proverb it is, but like a community or like a village can only rise as high as its women and children. something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that's true, then how could, and when I say feminism, I mean in the terms that the gentleman before me kind of contextualized it. In that aspect, how could it not be a benefit if you get what I'm saying? Like, these are the things that I grapple with.
Yeah, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
This is the first time I ever used these headphones on my phone. But anyway, um, Dr. John Henry Clark says black people tend to view things in the most purest form. So we believe in things in their most purest form. In its purest form, right? Feminism meaning equality for both genders. That's something that we can talk about amongst ourselves. Again, it's not something that should have ever had to exist in our community because if we were never colonized and brought here as slaves, this
Right,
wouldn't even be a discussion.
right.
So, but we are here now. It is a discussion. And for that reason, though, womanism is what suits us. I don't need equal rights for white women to be as powerful as white men are. That doesn't benefit me. That don't benefit you. That don't benefit nobody. I need the
Yeah.
sisters in our communities to be respected and put back. I don't want to. I don't want to say it like that, but recognized the way they were in Africa as an essential extension, or even in some communities, the head of the family. You know, we even do it
Right.
here in America. Y'all seen Soul Food, Big Mama, like
Yeah.
that's the
As
matriarchy
opposed,
or the matrilineal. Yeah, the matriarch. There you go. It's still powerful in our community. But
yeah.
yeah.
As
So
opposed to
yeah.
being like the tool, so to speak. And I think
Hmm.
I'm kind of speaking on behalf of myself, but then in a gentle way on behalf of like black women as a collective. I think historically, not like back to Africa historically, but like post transatlantic slave trade colonialism historically, like a lot of our progress has been at the expense of our women. And so
Hmm.
maybe that's kind of like a toxic like yield of that, in some ways, is like the prioritization of ourselves as like a subgroup, because who else is going to do it? But yeah, I don't know, like I
That's one way to
struggle.
look at it, but you got to remember it was at the expense of the women, but the women survived more often. So,
That is
you know,
true.
it gets real sick if you start dividing us up by gender cuz
No, no, no,
a lot of
that is
men
true.
were gone at an early age. The reason we have Big Mama is because she wasn't a threat to the patriarchal system and she was actually good for, taking care of the children. She could do most things in you know, she had a longer life, but also she could do things that the white tea woman didn't want to do. So what I'm
And
trying to say,
she wasn't
yeah,
a threat like in the and I was thinking about this earlier. I can't remember who said something about it, but in the context of like brain versus brawn, I think, because you don't people don't consider women a threat because we're smaller, or like we're not, as strong as men or stronger than men. But that doesn't mean our brains aren't equally as strong. So oftentimes you're like the brains
no, that's
behind
fair.
an operation. You know what I mean? Like
I one
you're
time
kind of
got
like the chosen ones.
I got roasted on a live one time, and I said a metaphor. But I went on this and I blocked this dude. I'm pretty sure he's still up here. I don't know. He was up here all the time. He was before me. Like he was here for a minute. He was hosting a live. Black men and black women were talking, and they roasted me up out that room because I said choosing between the oppression of black men and black women. It's like the difference is basically, do you want to be unalived or R worded? Like One way you live to be subjugated, and the other way you're deemed immediately a threat and unalived. And I got roasted for saying this because they weren't understanding what I was trying to say. But it's funny how in the Congo right now, the most dangerous place for a black woman to be, or any woman on earth, is the Congo, because a woman gets R worded twice every hour. Two women an hour are getting R worded. And millions of men, more than the women, are being unalived. It literally speaks to the oppression of black men and black women, where black men are like exterminated and sisters are kept around to remain less than. It's like wild. But yeah, I don't know if that made sense.
It did.
It made perfect sense.
I'll
That's
just have one
exactly
more specific
that's what happens.
for the last question. Um, Not really the question itself, but I get really frustrated by black people who tend to like act like just because people are LGBTQ, they're not black. And I say that understanding that a lot of them seem to prioritize their sexual identity over their blackness. However, y'all are two sides of the same coin. Like if you're going to expel a person because of their sexuality, you're no better than the person who is separating themselves because of their sexuality. Y'all are doing the same thing.
Word.
Can
Psh,
I can I
that's a
can I
bar.
respond to that as
Yeah.
as well? Because she is right about that, and one of the things that I see as well, because the homophobia is very rampant as well in African community, and
Mm-hmm.
anytime I look at it, I know it's because of um, the the infiltration of the Abrahamic religions on us, like Christianity, Islam, and this that.
Yeah.
Because if you look at like Africa, if you look at the cities, people will have a lot, like, oh, this is just bad, or like a man and man can be together, a woman and woman. But if you go to the rural parts of Africa, like if you go to like the place that just stayed or remained how they are,
Mm.
there isn't that much hate. Like it's more so. Would I say does the LGBT movement benefit black people? It's just they in Africa. I've seen it's just like, oh, they just are. Nobody is really bothered by that idea that much. Like it's just
That's
nobody.
our culture, right?
Like even if I ask, I remember, what I asked my mom herself, because she came from the city, but no, she grew up in the city, but she came from like the village, and she used to say, yeah, we knew, like, if a man was effeminate, he was just an effeminate man. Nobody would like hate, stone them, or threaten them to kill them, or like
Careful.
reject them from the community. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, let me not say that.
No, you good.
Unalive them, or reject them from the community. That wouldn't be the case at all. It was just like, okay, that is what he is, or that's what she is. Like the whole concept of LGBTQ was not a weird, strange concept in Africa. They know it. It's been around forever, right? So
Yeah.
it's that's why that's what confused me. What I do want to actually one of the things that I've been thinking of about getting black people closer, or like just the diaspora closer, it's our problem with tribalism. Even what is happening now in Congo, I know it's because of the cobalt, but tribalism is the number one thing that is destroying Africa. It's the
Always has
number
been. Yep.
It's the one thing that even in my country, every country, even if I speak about the Igbo and Yoruba in the West, if I speak in my country, the Dinka and the Nuer and Shuluk and this, that, Baria, if I, the Kosa people in the South, like the Habesha, whoever, like, doesn't matter. It's always tribalism that divides us. And
Yep.
I found it funny to even have the other brother, the guy named Game or something up here. I even view that as a form of tribalism. The fact that he, in his mind, would disassociate himself from his motherland, like where he's from, Africa, and to think to
Wow.
himself, like, no, like, I'm like, that is another form of tribalism. Him going like, oh no, this is my tribe here in the United States.
You're
I am not an
right.
African American. Some will be Israelites. Some will call themselves natives. But that is still like how he talks is how I see people from other tribes in Africa speak among each other, like this weird distancing of groups.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's facts. That's facts, and that's what we were saying about that last question too. Is identifying choosing an identity based on who you love, as opposed to just loving who you love and continuing to unify with your people. Um,
Yeah,
that's that's wild. That is tribalism. It's in our epigenetics.
it is.
Interesting.
It is. Well, what
What?
does F1
Yeah.
mean? I see people posting F1. What?
Epigenetics. Oh, F1
Oh,
just means they're protecting the live. That
oh,
just
okay.
yeah, yes. It just means they're protecting the live.
Ah,
That is interesting. I gotta think on that, man. That was quite a bar, man. I appreciate you coming up, brother. You
no, thank you.
definitely add a lot to live, man.
Thank you.
Um, that's
I like
crazy.
I like what you're doing as well, man. Bringing a space because there's
Yeah,
a lot of like diaspora needs to understand like it's like how do they say like we're all we have. So like if we don't understand that, it's just gonna and it's too many divide. It's tribalism all over. Like even
facts.
when we say oh Caribbean black and Latin black and this that, like
Hmm.
I like when Dr. Umar speaks of like just African,
African,
just with
yeah,
that, you know. And
right.
one thing I would also and then I'll stop is one thing that Africans need to stop doing towards the people from out of diaspora is we have this weird claim of the homeland. I notice this a lot of times that we feel that
Mm,
we're more right in a righteous position or like oh
I
because
know,
my
yeah,
ancestor are here so it's just that that doesn't like you guys have a right to return. That is your homeland. Like no don't ever let any Ghanaian, Nigerian or someone from Cameroon, Togo tell you that you're less African or don't you know like oh you don't know the culture. It's where your ancestors are from. Is where you're from. It's just that's just how it works, and that's
absolutely.
the same as well. Like if a Italian can go back to Italy, an Irish person can claim Ireland. There's no African that should ever put himself in a position to tell other Africans that they don't have the right to Africa. That's just silly to me. That's actually silly.
Word. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I try to let the brothers and sisters here in America know that we got to stand in it. We got to, stand firm in that. And yeah, I did create this space to be a unifying space for African people, no matter how you identify, no matter what part of the diaspora you're in, no matter what culture you
Hmm.
come from. All these colonial lines, colonial
Yeah,
languages given to us by colonizers, and all these things that we say separate us, even whether you're an L, a G, a B, or a T, that's something that identity given to you by a colonizer. So
yeah,
let's just go back to Ubuntu. Let's go back to I am who I am because of who we all are, and
yeah,
yeah, like that's why. And Tia brought up a good point too, because when I started B1 Initiative, that was my goal, was to call out the people that are so homophobic or have some sort of sexist, sexism internalized, call them out for not being willing to unify with the women and those that, express themselves in love another way than they deem, you know, appealing or whatever, acceptable. That's the word. So you see what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah,
yeah, like not like the bigots got to get called out, but then also those that have been hurt by black people because of that, been hurt by the black bigots, also need to get called out and told if they can heal, come back, and if the bigot can heal, come back. We all got to heal at the end of the day.
yeah.
So we got to call out both sides, and
No, that's
it's
fact.
quite a
That's a good
task.
point.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
appreciate y'all. I'm about to go to sleep. Oh man, we got two more people up here, but I gotta go to bed, y'all. I'm gonna have to come back up tomorrow.
You're so petty for
They've been
that.
up here this whole. I gotta go to bed. It's not even like I was trying to. I don't. That
Yeah,
blame
no, it's all
Leisha.
good,
Leisha
King.
keep
We'll
bringing
catch up.
y'all up, and I know
We'll
Timothy got
catch
a
up
word
later.
for us.
Yes, I'll
You
see
say
you guys
who?
another time. And I want to thank you for the
Okay.
life, man.
No,
Thank you,
it's all right,
for
man.
letting me
Can I
Rest
can,
first.
can I just say
Yeah.
one thing real quick? I ain't
Go
gonna be
ahead.
long.
Go
To
ahead, Sarah.
the so just so y'all know, I'm black. I'm 37. My pronouns is she, her. To the first one about can white people be pro-black, I wanted to respond to what the people were saying earlier. If you YT and you want to be pro-black or whatever, you want to come up off those resources. Give resources that's uncomfortable for you. Don't worry about your label.
Go learn about what's needed in the black community or organizations. Don't ask them a bunch of questions. Just give them resources. That's the way you can contribute. And Alan, you have a good night. Get some sleep. Thank you.
All right, y'all.
Holy Spirit,
Go
activate.
ahead, D. Yeah.
Holy Spirit, activate, activate, activate. All right, you guys, listen. You have officially landed this plane of Brother Legends Live. We have literally, what they call it? Finished and landed at our destination. That sounded horrible. But we
Oh, we
are
did.
here. You guys,
That's
we have
crazy.
landed. The plane is
Thanks,
officially
Stella.
landed. I need you
Appreciate
guys to get out, and you didn't tap out. Oh, they did. They hit the 150.
you.
That's
They
what I'm
hit
talking about,
150.
you
We
guys. You hit
exactly
the
landed. Your word.
150. All right, so we're officially going to deport and let you guys off. But before anything else, if you are not black, I need you to guess what? Jump in the tub before you jump in black business. All right, you guys, have a great night.
All right, y'all.
Good
Peace.
night.
Peace, Black Swan. Peace, everybody. Much love. Leisha, thank you. All
Yes,
right.
thank you as well, man.